Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Mira.
Okay, so a lot happened yesterday. One, first rate cut in God knows, by the way, you know since when? Since March of 2020.
So
first rate cut since March of
pandemic time?
Even more, 4.5 years since March of 2020,
wow.
There's a rate cut. However, everybody's asking, why is the market tanking? Why did the market tank in the opposite, react in the opposite way? Not tank, but took a hit. We'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that today. Tom's been so prepared for this all night. We'll talk about that too. Stories about Diddy. I mean, Diddy is in a rough place right now. Maybe he likes it, but it's he's in a challenging place right now, and a lot of other stories that's coming out. We'll talk about that. Don Lemon says Trump should lower the temperature, stop threatening democracy following assassination attempt. And then at the same time, his former buddy, Chris Cuomo, says he reached out to Trump after the second assassination attempt to have a conversation with him. And now a lot of people on Twitter who didn't like Chris, they're saying he's coming around. I'm liking the new Chris. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on there, but there's a lot of people that are supportive of what he said this week. This is one of Tom's favorite stories. Harris holds a 67-point lead over Trump among LGBTQ voters.
No.
Yes. Meta bans Russian media outlets, including RT, from Facebook and Instagram over foreign interference. Howard Stern says he hates anyone that votes for Trump. They're stupid. I have no respect for them. There you go. Gavin Newsom signs election deepfake ban in rebuke to Elon Musk. This is the Kamala Harris video that was done by the Trump camp.
And everybody went online and made videos of him.
That's right. They did this, which is hilarious. Musk attacks Newsom, says California's new anti-deepfake law makes parody illegal. Hezbollah vows to punish Israel after the pager explosion, which is, the stories of what happened. And the deeper and deeper I got into it, it just gets wilder and wilder how this happened.
Crazy.
Yeah, we'll definitely address that.
Couple sudden sex changes.
That's a good point because of where you put the pager.
Yeah. It's bad.
There's terrible images.
Well, it's called Operation
Why are you looking at it?
Below the Belt.
No, it was.
You're looking at someone's it was dangling drop like.
No. It was Reuters, and they had it. They kind of had it fuzzed out, but it was these guys.
Was fuzzy a little bit. The picture was. Let me just continue, Tom. You took me in a very bad place. But all right, guys, couple things here. New York Times. Workers threaten to strike on election day, and Amazon puts hybrid work in the rear view mirror. There's just a lot of stuff going on with the people that want to work from home. 23andMe board resigns in new blow to DNA's testing company. This is a Wall Street Journal story. They just resigned. They're like, we're out of here. We're not going to be doing this anymore. And they're out. And then Secret Service admits golf course wasn't searched before Trump's assassination attempt. And by the way, did you guys see what happened with the video Brandon just sent?
Something about a chemical
in the eyes and all the other stuff that people are saying that the Trump's camp is apparently confirming that something did take place. Anyways, so let me say a few things here to everybody before we get into the podcast. We got a lot of things to cover, specifically with the economy. This is the most important thing I want to tell you. We can't say where we were yesterday. Mm-hmm. But what I can confirm is once everything is finalized tomorrow, it'll be one of the biggest acquisitions I made in my life. And it'll be the biggest, I think, in that specific sector, it's the biggest one I've ever acquired. Yes, in this specific sector when you hear what it is. On November 5th, put it in your calendars. Mm-hmm. This is all I'm going to tell you. We're going to put the biggest election night party outside of the two candidates. Trump's going to have a big one. Kamala's going to have a big one. But we're going to have a crazy one, okay? And there will be a couple thousand people there. And there will be super VIPs and VIPs and premier, then general. Generals are going to have to bring their own chair, literally, when you hear what we're doing. But just telling you, put it in your calendar. It's going to start off at 6, and it's most likely going to go till 2, 3 a.m., okay? And we're all going to be together. And the requirement to be allowed to get into the party is you have to come in with Future Looks Bright shirts or hats or gears. I'm just telling you. So if you've ordered stuff, good for you. If you haven't, when I tell you what the event is, you're still going to need to have gear. No matter what ticket you buy, you're going to have to buy tickets to go to this because we're going to have AV, we're going to have a bunch of different things, and it'll be a element of a, I don't know if I want to say it. I'm just telling you, put it in your calendar. Hundreds of you have already emailed asking, how can I buy tickets? We're not selling tickets till next week. Once everything gets finalized, I'm just trying to put it in. You go to your phone, November 5th. It's a Tuesday. Put it in your calendar. People will be traveling here from all over the world. Yes, all over the world to be here with us November 5th. I'm whispering to you. And the people that will know about this first are our clients first. Anybody that's ever purchased anything from us before are the first ones to know. So if you're on that list, you've purchased anything, you've gone to Vault, you bought merch, you VTnews.ai, whatever it is, those guys get the first email sent because we want our insiders to get the tickets first. Then I'll announce it publicly to everybody. But I'm letting you know right now, we'll be making some announcements next week, November 5th. Put something in your calendar. You'll be with us and the crew on that day. Having said that, the one thing I want to encourage everybody to do, for the last 9 months, we built this news site, hired 15 machine learning guys. If you haven't yet subscribed, there's 3 tiers: freemium, $4.99, $19.99. $19.99 gives you the whole thing. Lopsided timelines. You can find out AI questions, unlimited questions. It costs us a lot of money the more questions you ask, but this is not just like any question you want to ask. You can go on there and type in like here. Go to the first one right there. What does it say? What are the top 5 events today? Let's type that and go to it, Rob. Let's see what it comes up. It answers the questions for you with our AI. It's got the lopsided stories. Here we go. So based on the recent news articles, here, United States ranks amongst the lowest developed nations overall healthcare performance despite spending the most on healthcare. Nevada Secretary of State Cisco Aguilar is focused on election integrity and workers' protection, including passing a bill. This is just right now, like what people are thinking about right now, the last hour. Over 20 women have been accused of the late billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed of sexual assault, including 5 claims of rape, as revealed in a BBC documentary. Anduril Industries has partnered with Microsoft to enhance the U.S. Army's integral visual augmentation system, integrating its Lattice software to improve. Cool. Various organizations are working to protect voting rights and enhance civic engagements as 2024 engagements are coming around the corner. There's so many different elements to VTnews.ai. This is going to be the aggregator many will be using moving forward. I want to encourage you, go to VTnews.ai, Rob, put the link below in the chat section, comment section. Go test it out for yourself. Rob, can you just click on the main story right then? Let's start off with that. Iran denies 2024 election hacking allegations. Okay. Let's see how many news outlets have reported on this. It says 38. Of the 38, how many are on the left? It's pretty evenly, right? If you go 9 on the left, 15 on the left, 9 on the center, 8 on the right, 6 unrated. Can you go see which ones it is on the right, Rob? Type on the left sources. Let's see who they are and zoom in.
ABC.
Can you just click on that, Rob? Yes, open it up. Got it. CBS, ABC, Al Jazeera, Guardian, The Independent, CNN, WAPO. Okay, let's see who's the left source. Who are the left sources? The Daily Beast, Bloomberg, HuffPo. Okay. How about right sources? Zero Hedge, Telegraph, Barron's, Epoch Times, Breitbart, Gate Pundit, New York Post. Okay, and then go to center. See what it says here. Okay, Fortune, AP, The Hill, CNBC. Interesting. Okay, now let me read the article, Rob, just to kind of see what it says. Zoom in. So the FBI has uncovered that the Iranian hackers attempted to interfere in the 2024 presidential election by sending stolen Trump campaign materials to individuals associated with the Biden-Harris campaign. Unsolicited emails sent in June, July contains non-public information from Trump's campaign. There's no evidence that the Biden-Harris campaign responded to or utilized the materials. The Harris campaign condemned the act, labeling it as unwelcome and unacceptable malicious activity. U.S. officials and intelligence agencies have been increasingly vocal about foreign interference, drawing comparisons to 2016 elections, emphasizing the need for transparency and security. Rob, can you show me the titles of how they're titling this article on the left? Just go to the left side. Yeah. Let's see how this. So Iranian hacker sent unsolicited stolen Trump campaign info to Biden campaign. Okay. Iran accused of sending stolen Trump campaign. What is Al Jazeera? Iran hacker sent stolen. Okay. Now let's go to the right. See what the right says. I need the right outlets. FBI reveals that Iran hacked Trump's campaign material and gave them to Biden-Harris. Wow. So FBI reveals. Breitbart, Iranian hackers infiltrated Trump campaign, sensed okay. Same thing. Telegraph, FBI says Iranian hackers sensed okay. And then let's see, Gateway Pundit. Here we go. FBI announces Iranian hackers sent stolen information from Trump's campaign directly to people associated with the Joe Biden campaign. So this is what VTnews.ai does. Yeah. It allows you to read the story, see who's reporting on it, see what the left is categorizing.
Unsolicited.
Exactly. And then on the right, and you're able to make a decision for yourself what's going on. This is why you ought to go subscribe and support us with VTnews.ai. We're building this for us, but we're making it available to everybody to be able to purchase it or just subscribe freemium. Tom, thoughts on the story here with Iran, that FBI is now saying that this actually happened?
Well, I think what's happening is everybody's trying to get out in front of it so no one can say after the fact, oh, they want to avoid the speculation and a war between Fox and MSNBC over who suppressed what. That's what they're trying to do. And so the FBI is really trying to be proactively get out in front. But let's face it, every single day, we know from the CrowdStrike attack, and we know the attack, remember exactly 6 weeks ago, the SeaTac airport in Seattle was shut down for a day because they had an attack, and we had the CrowdStrike problem where they claimed that they were doing an update to protect from other attacks and they shut a bunch of people down. So there are bad actors happening out here with attacks every single day. And every now and then they get lucky and they get into someone's email. And that's usually what they do. They pull a stack of email and any of the attachments in that email, like you sent a PowerPoint to somebody, a doc to somebody, that's what they got. And everything I read, it appears to be that what they did is you get one of those things, click here because Visa needs to talk to you about a transaction. And you don't know that when you click that, you're screwed because now you've opened a door to your email. So it appears that the bad actors from Iran, if the FBI is to be believed here, Iran penetrated somebody's email, got a bunch of docs trying to make trouble and sent them over to the Harris campaign. Meanwhile, let's say it's all true PBD. Why would Iran send Trump documents to help the Harris campaign? Do they think that they would prefer Harris over Trump? And maybe you're a little worried that maybe Trump would be a less patient fellow to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
If this is true, if the story is 100% true, Iran was trying to help the Harris campaign because they want nothing to do with the Trump presidency.
Well, this is the same, great point, Tom. This is the same Biden-Harris campaign that unfroze, what was it, $6 billion, Adam, was it?
Yes.
For Iran to, have fun with their terrorism and stuff. Mind you, they don't say, Tom, you nailed it. What
was in asleep when that happened. Don't blame me.
Yeah.
I was asleep.
What was in those emails? Maybe it's some of his detail, Secret Service, where he's going to be, the times, this, that. God knows what they're sending these.
Most likely what would help the Harris campaign is if there is a pivot in talking points. When a candidate moves talking points. Last night, if you saw any clips from Trump last night in New York, he looked great.
Yeah.
He was his old self, but he turned down some of the rhetoric and he was driving on the greatness of New York, living in New York. He was pushing all that. So let's say some of those talking points that as things unfold, they were putting those together and I sent the document to you. You got hacked. They sent it to the Harris campaign. Now that campaign, hey, look, he's going to move a little bit and he's going to be talking this way. We need to talk this way. We need to put ads this way. So it helps you because, if that's what's there, it would help the campaign. It would help Harris's campaign to know what he's doing.
Let me ask you, how much do you believe that Iran is hacking into systems? How much you think Iran is definitely behind all of this stuff?
I would put it at a very high likelihood.
Give me a percentage. What do you think it is?
I'm at 75%.
98%.
Oh, you're at 98%. Okay, so tell me why. Why.
Well, look, everyone has a reputation. You have a reputation. You have a reputation. Every country has a reputation.
Yeah.
What's Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran's reputation since 1979?
Great rice.
Great rice. Okay, that's true. Beyond that, they have oil, right? They're an oil-rich country. Great. But beyond that, there's countries that are builders and there's countries that are destroyers. And I would argue that Iran is in the destroyer category. What are they best known for outside of the great Persian Empire of the past? They're known for cyber hacking and nuclear threats. They are known for being the foundation of Islamic terrorism throughout the world. They, as the IDF sort of puts it, they are. They said they use the terms like the head of the snake. They said, no, they are the head of the octopus and their tentacles reach out all over the Middle East and if they had their way, the caliphate all over the world. And they're the ones funding the Houthis. They're the ones funding Hezbollah. They're the ones funding Hamas. Every single thing out there in the Middle East, you can kind of trail back to what the Islamic Republic of Iran is basically funding. So you ask the question, what's the likelihood? The likelihood is very, very, very high that they are involved in all this.
Okay. I mean, this leads me to the next story, which is maybe the main story for us to cover with what happened yesterday. And I'm talking about the pagers, by the way, the pagers exploding. Rob, if you want to pull up what story is that one on? The pagers exploding? Is it anywhere here or
Page
Hezbollah vows to punish? No, not that one. Yeah, that's the one right there. So let's go through it. Hezbollah vows to punish Israel after pager explosion across Lebanon. Okay. And by the way, this wasn't just when you think about how strategic it was, Hezbollah vows to fair punishment against Israel after accusing it of detonating pagers across Lebanon, killing 9 people, which is, I think it's 12 now, 2 kids, and wounding, it says nearly 3,000, it's around 2,800 people, including fighters and civilians. The explosions occurred in Hezbollah strongholds and were described as the group's biggest security breach. Israeli military declined to comment on the detonations, but the New York Times reported that the explosive material was already hidden in the pagers imported to Lebanon from Taiwan, remotely detonated by Israel's forces. Hezbollah described this as a targeting of an entire nation with casualties amongst prominent Hezbollah members. And by the way, one of them was the ambassador, which was very Iranian ambassador to Lebanon. And why does he have one of those pagers, which was the strangest thing out of everything that you're talking about, right? And he's the one that lost one eye and was severely wounded in this other eye. 2 of his guards were also wounded from the explosion. Rob, do you have any of the videos to show? Folks, we're going to play one of the videos, just brace for impact. Just show the one in the market. Don't show the one the dangling that Tom's talking about. Show the one in the market on what happened. Because
Reuters fuzzed it out, but you can
Reuters
see
fuzzed it out?
It's like a chunk of his thigh.
Oh, that's terrible, Tom.
And Pat, while he's looking, the reason that they're using the pagers and flip phones is because it's
Second one, you had it. Go to that one right there. Yeah, watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Watch this.
The guy in the...
So that's the guy on the left?
Yeah.
It was his pager. So that means he's a member of Hezbollah. That's what that means. Yeah. So if you had a pager that exploded, you were a member of the Hezbollah. And by the way, do you know it all exploded at 3:30 p.m.
on the dot.
On the dot. They all got the same message, right? It was around 5,000 of these pagers that they had when it exploded. You know, it's Taiwan made 3:30 Lebanon time after they got the message. And then in February, one of the Hezbollah leaders warned them to say, don't carry phones because it's worse than Israeli Mossad. Yeah. So Hezbollah leaders saying, don't carry phones because Mossad is, let's go back to old school.
Let's detect.
So look at how Mossad, if they're behind this, they hear that message, they go get the pagers, they send it in to sell it to them and give them the access, and they put the explosive in them. And then he said, go and bury your phones or put it in an iron box. And next thing you know, something like this takes place. What are your thoughts? I'll go with you first.
I mean, listen, the tactic, because when we heard it and it was unfolding, I was like, dude, what a smart, listen, if you want to bring terror to the terrorists, this is it, Pat, because they're using old school devices because they're less traceable and hackable. And the thing that it was at 3 p.m., Pat, they got an incoming message that appeared to originate from senior Hezbollah leadership. So they were like, hey, what's happening over here? And then boom, they all went off. Listen, and like I said, I'm all for killing terrorists. The more the merrier. This is a touchy situation because I think the actual numbers, Pat, you said it, it's attacks involving the explosions by Hezbollah resulted in 20 deaths, more than 2,800 injuries, which are civilians. So this is where you have to weigh in. You got 20 guys. I don't know out of those 20 deaths, two kids. Like, the fear factor is there, but the 2,800, I think, like, for instance, they were in a market there. This was a different situation. I guess one of them went off at a funeral, which was a lot bigger, and I think killed another person. So it's like they're bringing the fight to the terrorists, which I actually like. But the only thing is, to me, it's the civilians, the civilian highly. But this is what the scary thing is too. Now, by the way, they went into their supply chain, right, PBD? So now, who's to say, Tom? And let me just say this really fast, PBD. It went so a Taiwanese-based pager company, Gold Apollo, they placed 2 ounces of explosives in each pager in the battery and imported them to Lebanon. Who's to say, God forbid, this happens in a shipment of iPhones that are coming somewhere and this happens here? This can make somebody else go, wait a minute, what a great idea. All you have to do is jump into the supply chain, Tom, and do it here.
Well, right? I have 2 quick thoughts. And the first quick thought is, when you're dealing with an enemy that uses civilians as human shields, tragically, you're going to have civilians hit. And it's horrifying. It's terrible, but it's the reality of a war when cowards want to hide among civilians. Gone are the days where, like you see in movies and you see historical pictures where 2 armies line up on either side of some line and they go after each other. We're dealing with now cowards that want to conduct, their terror this way. And now to come back, think about it. This is an amazingly strategic move. They are correctly telling people, don't carry an iPhone or an Android because those can be tracked even when it's turned off. That's correct. So I'm not in favor of any terrorism, but if they're saying, guys, you probably shouldn't carry that, that's probably correct not to be tracked. We'll get these pagers, and then Mossad finds out.
I have one thing I want to say that I think is big, but anything else, Tom?
No. And then
Adam,
Mossad
what are your thoughts?
just figures it out and says, okay, here's your pager.
So what's the reason that Israel did this on Hezbollah? Everyone's focusing on the war that's going on in Gaza, where they're fighting against Hamas, and there's a whole conversation to be had there. But what a lot of people don't know is that there's war coming from all sides against Israel. The Turkish president Erdogan is like, the Israeli expansionism. It's like, the expansionism. People all around them are trying to attack them. Now, what's going on in Hezbollah? That's in Lebanon. This is not in Gaza. There's also stuff going on in Syria. We know what's going on in Yemen. They're getting it from all sides. And what's going on in the north of Israel, near the Golan Heights, everything near there, which is a territorial dispute for years with Lebanon, Syria, in that range, is that almost 100,000 Israelis had to move out of that area. Why? Why do they have to move out of that area? Because Hezbollah, which is a terrorist group, has been shooting thousands and thousands and thousands of rockets into Israel on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Just imagine you're in LA and south of the border in Tijuana, they're shooting rockets into LA or into San Diego. What would the USA response be? Okay, I can assure you it wouldn't be, let's go attack some beepers. But Israel's basically fighting a different type of warfare. So there's this type of warfare, is obviously tactical warfare, but there's also mental warfare. Now you have Hezbollah, which is basically controlling, 20% of Lebanon. What a disgrace that's turned into an amazing country called Lebanon, which used to be sort of a place where Christians, Jews, Muslims could all live, even Druze. And now it's just being run by this terrorist organization. So they said, how can we strike fear into these people and eliminate some of the terrorists? At any point, mental warfare kicks in and you don't know what's coming your way. This situation was called Operation Below the Belt because a lot of people are wearing beepers. Why the hell are you rocking beepers these days? You made a good point, is because they basically said, hey, don't use cell phones anymore. They're using the cell phones. Let's get beepers. Bingo, let's get some beepers.
Yeah.
Here's one last thing. There was actually a satirical post about sort of these Israeli guys sort of imitating what would the conversations be like after this. It's like, oh, we don't use the beeper. This whole thing, 72. That's Tommy Robinson posted that. He says, "What? There you go. Congratulations." These two basically Hezbollah terrorists are basically talking, and one guy goes, "You want some coffee?" Yeah, I'll take coffee. Yeah, go, press the button. Go make the coffee. He's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to press the button for the coffee. It's you hot? You a little hot? Yeah, turn on the AC.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know if I want to press this button.
Oh.
Are you gaining a little weight? Step on the scale. Oh. Is this a digital scale? It's a digital scale. Hey, think I'm doing okay. So now they're walking you through this process of now any single thing you're going to touch, button, this, that. Now the Hezbollah terrorists are like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to start this car. I don't know if I want to turn on this engine. I don't know if I want to press this button. Boom, mental warfare.
All this leads to psychological warfare.
Yes.
Let me tell you, if you want to mess, do you know what this does to you? The impact of it psychologically. Let me tell you how weird it was. My dad calls me yesterday. I'm in a meeting with Rob. Do you remember this, Rob?
Yes.
My dad calls me. Marla, kul me de spoiler. Ja, kul me de spoiler. Telefoon nog moet jullie. How's your telephone doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, my telephone is doing good. He says, are you seeing what's going on with these things? I said, Dad, they're pagers. He says, but you listen, I've even seen, by the way, he's right. iPhones are also have exploded. And remember when Droid, you couldn't even have a Droid on a flight like 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
burning up.
Yeah, they were blowing up. But Rob, if you can pull up the story, this is the girl behind it, by the way, which is very interesting, right? Go a little lower. This is the CEO of the company that made the pagers. And you have to see what she lists on her LinkedIn right there. This is the girl. Look what she lists as her strengths and her studies. Zoom in a little bit. Christina Barsoni Arsidiacono, who studied in London and lists disaster management as one of her skills. It's listed, it's not funny, but it's funny, right? Is listed as the CEO of the Hungarian-based company BAC Consulting, initially believed to have supplied the devices to the Lebanese group. She denies any knowledge of the alleged plot. Okay,
you gotta watch her.
This is what the pagers
the
look
company
like.
is called BAC.
Yes, but you're going to see the
Stands
rest.
for badass chick.
Yeah, so this is the pager, which by the way, back in the days, this was like if Telestar, like in Glendale,
I love those.
Yeah, this was like legit, right? Keep going, Rob. And so these are the pictures of what happened. Keep going. That's what it looks like after it exploded. Okay, keep going. I think that's the picture Tom was talking about. Go lower. You'll see the picture that Tom had on his phone. Keep going lower. Go lower. Go lower. You'll see the picture, and then I want you to go up. That's the guy. So pagers are in your
Blew
pocket.
up his hand.
So go up. Let me read this. This is the part. The other way, Rob. Up. Yeah. Right. Go all the way up to this section. Just this section. Keep going. Right there. Okay. So according to the New York Times, no, little higher, Rob. Just this section when it starts. Go a little higher. There you go. Okay. Israeli spies were already working on their ingenious plan long before February when Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah said that Israel was using cell phone networks to pinpoint the location of his operatives. You can ask me. You ask me where the agent is, Nasrallah told his followers in a publicly televised address. I tell you that the phone in your hands, in your wife's hands, and in your children's hands is the agent. Then he urged them, bury it, put it in an iron box and lock it. He had been pushing for years for Hezbollah to invest instead in pagers. So he said, let's go to pagers, which for all their limited capabilities could receive data without giving away, Rob, if you can go a little lower, give away users' location and other compromising information. According to the New York Times, one of the Mossad shell companies was BAC Consulting in Budapest, Hungary, set up to produce the devices on behalf of a Taiwanese company, Gold Apollo. Gold Apollo chair Su-Ching Kwang told journalists Wednesday the firm has had a licensing agreement with BAC for the past 3 years. According to the cooperation agreement, we authorize BAC to use our brand trademark for product sales in designated regions, but the design and manufacturing of the product are solely the responsibility of BAC, Gold Apollo said, meaning they design it, they build it, they produced it, they send it to this consulting firm, they undid it, put a bomb in there, okay, would have triggered that any time, then they sold it to you.
Wow.
So it's not the developers of the pagers that did this, is the consulting firm that bought the thousands and then send it over.
You know what it is, PBD?
Yeah, and it
Don't
continues.
mess with
BAC
Mossad.
did not take in ordinary clients for which it produce a large range. By the way, imagine now every human being that bought this pager, what they're thinking.
I was just gonna say, like,
honey, get rid of it,
please.
But who's using pagers these days?
A lot of people in this region.
Mossad knew who they were shipping to.
exactly.
Yeah,
Mossad knew exactly who
of
they
course,
were doing.
and Pat, these companies, I mean,
One
they got to
for
be
you, and
careful
one
now.
for you, not you.
Retaliation is going to be big, but now, and you guys nailed it with the what's it called, the psychological warfare. What are they going to do now? They're not going to go. They're not going to go to cell phone. I mean, iPhones and stuff. They're going to go carrier pigeon. Like I don't understand what they're going to do because they can't go back.
They're going to go back to smoke signals and blankets. And blankets.
Yeah,
They might. PBD, you know, a couple podcasts ago, you talked about what a magician does to distract. and what they do to create a diversion tactic. So you're looking over here, and boom, they get you over here. So they recognize, listen, Mossad, is everywhere, especially in the Middle East. That's the thing with these Israelis. They kind of just look like Arabs a lot of the time. You don't know the difference. Yeah. You put on a little, whatever this whole deal is, and now you don't know what's going on. So what happens is they're basically sent out this fake signal, the distraction. Yeah, the cell phones. They're coming for the cell phones. Boom, they set them up one way. All right, now they're going the pagers. Guys, got them. We got them with the pagers. And then they're creating this distraction. What's the Mossad? What's CIA? What is MI6? There's one word that is a root word in all these things. That's intelligence. The intelligence of Mossad. And in conjunction, a lot of times with the CIA. So sometimes, we have the conversation of why is Israel and America so tight? You know how many secrets these guys know about each other? You know how much MI6, the UK, CIA, dude, they're trying to stop terrorism all over the world. They're not focused on Gaza, Palestine. They're focused on Boko Haram, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, the Triple H crew, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. They're trying to attack these terrorists everywhere. Yeah. So if you ever seen the movie Fauda or the show Fauda, you'll understand what they got going on. They're going to get the terrorists before the terrorists go get them.
I'm not to add light to the situation, but there had to be that one terrorist that wasn't in on, like he was late, or he's like, why didn't you?
It was his first day.
Yeah. And he's like, why didn't you page me? And you're like, you didn't hear about Muhammad? No, what? He's a shkata that he's finished. He's like, why did you tell me?
This is why. Yeah. This is why. It's the perfect timing for this. Yeah. This is why we have decided to change our entire phone system at Valuetainment. Yeah. And this is our new sponsor, folks. We're moving our phone system
Alexander Graham
old school. There's nothing they can do to this. It's bulletproof.
Yeah.
These are 85 pounds each. You can use it for dumbbells. You can use it for everything. Every time you make a phone call, your biceps are PBD. You just work out throughout the day.
They will put something
here, Watson.
in there.
I need you.
Can you do me a favor, Rob? Can you pull up the Lebanese ambassador that had one go off? Let's see who this guy is and who his connections are. Can you go to him? That's who I want to know who this guy is. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Rob?
Mutai. His name is Mojtaba.
Yeah, let's pull that name up and let's see what comes up. Okay, just go to his Wikipedia. Let's see what we have here. Iranian diplomat who has served as Iran's ambassador to Lebanon since 2002. Prior to this, he headed the Iran's interest section in Egypt from 2013 to 20. Interesting. Egypt in September 2024. Okay, so he's part of. Amani holds a master's degree in international relations from University of Tehran. Amani began working at the ministry. My mom went to University of Tehran, working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1988 with his role as the deputy head of ministry office. Can you just Google why he was there? Why? Yeah, let's see. Why was he there? That's what I'm curious about. Go ahead.
I have a separate question.
Why did he have a pager? Yes.
Why?
I can tell you why.
Yeah. Why did Mossad make sure that guy had a pager, or why did he order one? I have my iPhone. I also need one of those special pagers.
Well, if it hit his eye,
I got some buds over there. I got to talk to. My crew. You're
going there is where you're going.
Me?
Yes.
I'm like. It's simple. Why is he holding one of the pagers that Hezbollah? I haven't seen any reports that there is innocent civilians with one of these that had it. I've heard reports that civilians were hurt.
Are you talking about this guy, Mojtaba Amani?
Spell it for me. Mojtaba
Amani.
Thank God I have Persians here and Assyrians here to pronounce these names.
You're welcome.
Mojaji Amani Kabumi Faldowni.
Not you, Tom.
Why did Moj
Kabumi Faldowni
Amani Mojtaba?
I can tell you why, Pat.
Go ahead, tell me.
Well, look, we don't have to look too far. We don't have to connect too many dots. A few weeks ago, there was a guy called Ismail Haniyeh. He was the leader of Hamas. Where did allegedly the Mossad or the IDF get him and kill him? Do you remember?
Which guy?
Where?
The Ismail Haniyeh?
Yeah.
Do you remember where they got him?
No.
In Tehran, Iran, leading with the Ayatollah Khomeini. And they went and got the leader of Hamas, who was meeting with the supreme leader, Ayatollah of Iran, and killed him in his hotel room in the capital of Iran. So this is just an extension of that. What does this all mean? Number one, we know that Iran is funding this terrorism. We know that. They've given billions to this group. But what's the number two thing? You talked about psychological warfare. What's the Mossad basically telling you? We're smarter than you. We're sharper than you. We're more clever than you. We're going to figure things out. And by the way, we're going to come get you wherever you are. If you're plotting and planning on destroying our country, we're going to go get you. And they went and they got the leader of Hamas in Tehran, and they went and they got this new leader in Lebanon. So I don't know. Do you have a different opinion on that?
I'm just curious. Tom, you look like you want to say something.
No, I'm saying when Mossad wants to get somebody, you remember when there was a guy, Adam, help me with this. There was was he a PLO official that was in what the PLO became, right?
What year?
What Arafat. It only goes back about 8 years. And he was in his office in Lebanon, and it was a drone that fired a short range, high intensity, almost like a Hellfire missile, right into where he was. And they did it tracking the phone. They knew exactly where he was, and they put a missile right in there, and it blew the corner of the building, like right on the third, fourth floor, wherever it was, right into this guy. So when Mossad decides, or the CIA green lights, that, you know what, this guy needs to go, you know, he'll be in his car going around the airport, you know, okay, U.S. said, okay, you're done.
What
or the
doing,
guy sitting in his office in Lebanon when Mossad said, hey, it's time to go get this guy. And CIA said, yep, you can do it. And we helped them with the drone and a Hellfire missile. Bing.
Well, at the end of the day, what they're doing with this is very clear. It's very tactical. It's surgical, and they're going after exact people. There's a whole nother different conversation that we can have what's going on in Gaza and whether it's over the top or not. But against these people, they are being surgical and taking them out.
And Adam, you made a great point. Like, you know, when I first realized what and who Mossad was, do you guys remember the Munich massacre in 1972?
Yeah, 1972, of course.
Dude, Spielberg made a movie called
Eric
Munich.
Bana.
Bro, Munich. They went after, I think it was Black September.
That's what the show Fauda's about.
It was Operation Wrath of God. They carried out by Mossad. Tom, it took years, and they went after every single. And by the way, they did. You know that phone that Pat was joking around about? That's how they killed one of the guys. He picked up that phone and it blew up in the movie. That type of phone. But this movie, you want to talk about a have you seen this one?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, what a fantastic movie!
That's Eric Bana, right?
Eric Bana. That's when I found out about what Mossad's capability was.
Rob, pull up the story. Zoom in. Regime mob leader. This is September 20th, which is when? This is what's today's date?
That's not exactly a year ago.
A year.
20th of a year ago.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's like this is
exactly
tomorrow's
a year
news.
ago.
Wow, they're good.
VTNews.ai, you got future news.
These guys are good, man. This thing didn't even happen tomorrow.
Regime mob leader. By the way, VTNews.ai has a predictive element to it as well, which we're excited about.
I'd be very intimidated if I was that guy and I found out that I'm dying tomorrow.
Regime mob leader accompanies Iranian president during U.S. visit. Okay, go lower to see who this guy is. Go lower, Rob, to see who he is. A leader of government vigilante mob who carried out the 2011 storming of the British embassy in Tehran is now accompanying Iran's president during the visit. What? Mojtaba Amini is also the producer of a TV series that has been criticized for glorifying imprisonment of dual nationals. Okay, so got it. So Golor is a leader of vigilantes who stormed the bridge. Can you play the video? Let's see what he sounds like here. Play this video.
آقای امینی شما تهیه کننده سریال امنیتی گاندو هستید درسته؟
What's he saying, Pat?
راحت اومدید نیویورک آقای امینی؟ شما که با نیروهای امنیتی سریال ساختید چطوری ویزا گرفتید آقای امینی؟
How'd you get your visa?
ما با مجموعهایی که تروریست هستن صحبت نمی‌کنیم.
شما خودتون متهمید به اعمال تروریستی در جامعه جهانی آقای امینی.
مزدور هستید ما باهاتون صحبتی نداریم.
شما متهمید توسط جامعه جهانی به تروریسم دولتی.
Putting him on blast, Pat?
Yeah, he is. He's calling him out on what I don't want to talk about anything having to do with terrorism. Let's see what it says. Has been granted a visa to visit New York 12 years after storming the bridge. This is him, by the way, right there in the front.
Yep.
So that's interesting. So there's a reason why they target. Keep going low, Rob. Let's see what else it says here. Leader of the vigilante. Go a little higher. Go right. Leader of the vigilantes was okay. Go lower. Granted. Okay, keep going. So Amini's producing the Gando was aimed to undermine the administration of former President Hassan Rouhani while receiving praise from supporters of superior leader Al Khamenei. Okay, so he was not a Rouhani guy. Member of the President Hossein Rouhani's administration, including Foreign Minister Javan Zarif, protested the series and even wrote a letter of complaint to Khamenei requesting its cancellation. Despite the protest, second season of its series was produced. The first season was drawn inspiration from Khamenei's repeated warnings about the enemy infiltration of the nuclear negotiation team. Ando got it. In June, Mohammed, Iran's Ministry of Culture, appointed Mojab Amini as the advisor. Amini served as the secretary of the 41st edition of Annual International Affairs Forum. Okay, so he's somebody. There's a reason why they targeted this guy. This guy seems like to have a history. Rob, put Mojab Amini. Let me see what's on there. Lebanon, ambassador to Lebanon. Interesting. What? The accused of Zionist plan. That is so. Okay, here we go.
Bingo.
I just found it. Okay, let's play this one, Rob. Not play. Pull up this clip. Pull up this clip if you can. That I just sent you. This guy's interesting. Why would you target this guy? Why would you? They didn't want to hurt this guy. They wanted to kill this guy. This is not a guy they're trying to hurt. They're trying to kill this guy.
What's he doing now, and why did he end up with a pager?
Okay, so watch this, Rob. Pull up, do you have the link to the article? Okay. Has Iran's ambassador to Lebanon defected to Israel? He accuses it of Zionist plot. Mojtaba Amini, Iran ambassador to Lebanon, took to social media on Wednesday to refute swirling rumors about his supposed defection to Israel. These rumors have been dismantled by Israel's psychological warfare networks, stemming from their apprehension about potential Iranian responses. What? Did you get it? Let me read this one more time and tell me what it means. Iran's ambassador to Lebanon took on social media on Wednesday to refute swirling rumors about his supposed defection to Israel. What does it mean, defection to Israel?
He's basically denouncing his Iranian whole affiliation, and he's going to
help Israel.
He's helping Israel.
Okay,
he's flipping.
He's making aliyah.
Yeah.
Go lower. Zoom in.
Doubtful.
So the top diplomat of Lebanon has forcefully rejected reports of his alleged allegation of Israel, characterizing them as a deliberate misinformation of the efforts via social media. Amini, Iran's ambassador to Lebanon, took on social media on Wednesday to refute this rumor. Go lower, Zionist, go lower. By the way, what a move, Israel, if that's what I'm thinking. Salam alaikum. I mean, these rumors have been dismantled by Israel's networks. In the recent days, Iran and Israel have been clashing rhetorically after Tehran blamed Israel for assassinating Hamas. Ismail Hanai on its own soul. Late July, Iran's leaders have vowed to retaliate after the breach. Okay, so let me say this. If they're doing this, man, that is some. So let me tell you how I read this.
Yep.
Israel creates the rumor through their media that this guy's turned against Iran to create a division within the community. So they create the division within the community because now internally some people now don't trust him, because what if 5% this is true? Then after there's division within it, guess what? Blow up his pager. How do you read it, Tom?
Well, I read it as he wasn't just an ambassador. He's working with somebody because he had one of the pagers. And so the Hezbollah, bought the pagers, Israeli through their BAC shell company in Hungary made sure they bought them. So how did this guy get one of the pagers? Hey, buddy, to talk to the rest of the crew, you're going to need this. Yeah. He's talking to them. He's staying in touch with Hezbollah somehow. And perhaps he was shifting.
But why is Israel saying that he defected to Israel? Why is that? And who creates that rumor? Maybe, Israel, Mossad, or internal?
Well, Mossad is out there creating. Look, there's psychological. Look, there's military warfare.
Yep.
There's strategic intelligence warfare, like terrorism on both sides behind the scenes, and there's psychological warfare
and technological warfare. That's part of it.
Exactly. Right. And so, it boils down to me, Pat. There's a lot of motive and everything behind it, like you're pointing out, which is really good and deep. But there's also, why did you have a Hezbollah pager? Someone on the Hezbollah crew said, you need one of these to talk to who?
Let me tell you. One time, there's two guys that are each saying that the other person is leaking information on me. Okay? And do you understand what I'm saying or no? So, do I even want to go tell this story?
Just use fake names.
Here's all. I'm not even going to use fake names or anything. The method of finding out of who has your back and who doesn't, it's not hard to do. It's so easy to do. It's not hard to do because there's so many methods. All it takes is a a day, a week, a month to know who is fully loyal to you and who's only fully loyal to your face. That is by far the easiest way to do it. For you to filter out, you send those pagers to Hezbollah. Whoever Hezbollah gives those pagers to, those are loyalists. You just identified who this guy really is. What a way to filter people out. What a freaking way to. When I interviewed the former director of Mossad 4 years ago, he wouldn't say nothing. He was bulletproof. Bulletproof. These guys are some of the most incredible. No, it wasn't him. It was one of the older ones from the 80s or the 90s. The former. If you type in the history of director of Mossad, I'll tell you which one it was. Shabbat
Shalom. No.
Go. Let me see which one it is. Keep going lower. If you got the history.
Now we're going down the rabbit hole here. Yeah, punching a little bit right there.
Keep going. That's the one right there.
Right here?
Shabtai Shavit. Yeah. Man, he would not say anything when he and I said. It was a great conversation. But he was like.
He's not budging.
You could tell.
He died recently. September.
The interview's online.
Last year.
He died in Sicily, Italy. Well, listen, may God, may he rest in peace. But, okay, next story we get into. I think we didn't figure out who this guy is, but I think the market, whatever you're looking at, guys, you guys can go do a little bit more due diligence for yourself as well. Interest rates. 11 times in 6 months, we raised the rates. Never in the history of America have we done this. We haven't lowered the rates for over a year. We haven't raised them. We haven't touched the rates for over a year. And the last time we lowered the rates was 4.5 years ago, March of 2020. Rob, if you have Jerome Powell making this announcement, he comes out. Everybody's expecting 1/4 point. It's not going to be anything. It's only going to be 1/4 point. We're even talking about it. You said 50-50.
I said
right?
50-50 for 1/2 point.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he says, nope, we're going to 1/2 point. Tom, I have a chart I want to show after you're done, but I want to hear your reaction when you saw this.
Well, so I was 50-50. So was I super surprised? No. But was I somewhat surprised? Sure, because I was 50-50. And what everyone had been looking at, all the Fed watchers, and I get away from all the chaff, and I try to signal the noise ratio. I try to get the signal and cut out the noise of a lot of the chatter. And what was in the signal was that there's a lot of these labor statistics and unemployment. The Fed's going to go faster on rate cuts if it's worried about unemployment or a stagnating economy, like slowing down. So recession, unemployment, whoops, got to drop the rates. Well, recession, everybody's been thinking it's recession or thinking we're in a structural recession right now, but it's light. And the labor numbers keep getting revised. So everybody, including the Fed, had been saying, some of these labor statistics, it's troubling to see them revised. And we've even covered it here. Remember, what was it, Pat? 1 month ago, they were missing 100,000 jobs. They came back a week later. Oh, yeah, we're sorry. It really was 100,000 different. Sorry. Meanwhile, the White House took credit for creating all these jobs, and they revised it a week later. So with all that jobs data and the potential recession, that was the 50% of me that said, you know what, he may go to 1/2 point there to protect the economy.
I get that, Tom. But so the average person right now, maybe let me read this thing and I'll tee you off with this one here. Okay. So the stock market dipped after a historic Fed rate cut. Okay. Here's what experts think. Okay, Rob, I'm going to send you this chart here. If you can do me a favor, I already sent it to you. If you can pull that up, that'd be great. So here's Fortune and what they think why this is taking place. So Federal Reserve cut the rates by 1/2 point and calling it a move to demonstrate officials' confidence that the labor market can stay strong with appropriate recalibration, despite the Dow dropped 1/4 basis point. S&P fell 0.29% and NASDAQ fell 0.31%. And Robert Frick, corporate economist at Navy Federal Credit Union, noted that 1/2 point cut is an admission the Fed is behind the curve. BlackRock's Rick Ryder explained that the market reaction, saying the market has priced in a rate path that looks more like what an impending recession would require rather than the Fed's less aggressive recalibration. The Fed's outlook of 2 more 1/4 basis point cuts this year. That's a full-on 100 basis points by 2025. Disappointed investors. Powell insisted that the U.S. economy is in good shape, but his comment that we're not going back to net near zero rate caused unease. Watch this. Go back to that article I sent you, Rob, And by the way, before I even show this, I want to ask you a question, Tom. Don't go down before I. So every time we've cut rates the first time, Tom, and Vinny and Adam, I just kind of want you to think about this.
Yes, sir.
Historically, when there's been these climbs of rate increases, okay, and then there's the first rate cut, how much does the stock market drop after the first rate cut? I think you saw it.
No, I didn't see anything.
No. But historically, the market usually reacts down because the market is usually talking about what it needs and the economy is showing what it needs. And when the Fed finally responds, usually the Feds, so there's two theories, Fed chase and Fed ahead. Fed usually chases because Fed looks at history. The stock market, the Fed reacts to history, so the Fed is chasing its tail. Whereas the stock market is always speculating, it's always ahead.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. So pull it up, Rob. Go all the way down.
It's sort of baked into the market already.
Correct. So the market
watch
already.
this. So zoom in on that one. That's the first one. The federal fund rate has increased 10 times in 14 months. I think it's 11 times in 16 months. So if you look at that, that's the cycle that we've been going, right?
Biggest since Jimmy Carter, 72.
It's just like, bam, we went up. Okay, go lower, Rob, to show how the market tanks. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You'll see the chart. Keep going, keep going, keep going. That's the one right there. Zoom out a little bit so we can see it. Okay, so stock market valuation and performance after Fed's first rate cut. Okay, you got 74, 80, 81, 84, 89, 95, 2001, 07. So the first rate cut happens. And then if you go a little lower, Rob, it shows the average of how much the decline is, 20.5%. Wow. That's the average. 74,
just on the first day, you mean?
No, not what? After the first day. It's 94 days or 20 days or 437 days. But after the first rate cut, the market tanks 27.6%. In 1980, it dropped 2%. 1981 dropped 22.6%. 84 dropped 1%. 89 dropped 8%. 95 dropped half. 2001 dropped 42%. Okay? After the first rate cut, which is what, a year and 9 months. The first one is a 3 months. The third one is a year and 2 months. And then the 55.5%, that's how many years? That's a year and a half. And a 24.2 that we went through just 4 years ago was in how long? In roughly 7 months, right? Give or take, that it dropped 24.2. So if on average, if we go based on this, there's going to be a 20.5 market correction within 3 months to 18 months based on history. Based on history. That's what this is telling us. The question then becomes the following, okay? The question becomes, how different is this than others? Okay, so then there's a story here from NPR here. 4 ways Federal Reserve big rate cut could change the housing market. So the average person is going to ask, how does this affect the housing market? Number one, mortgage rates may not drop much further. A lot of people are thinking it's going to drop. It says no. Although mortgage rates have decreased to 6.2, their lowest since February 2023, further drops will likely be marginal as the rate cut may already be priced in. Charlie Daughtry, Wells Fargo's economist, predicts that rates remain around 6.2 by the end of the year and could fall to 5.5 by 2025, still above pandemic levels, okay, pre-pandemic levels. Number two, lower rates could drive higher home prices, which we know that. Lower mortgage rates might attract more buyers, increase competition, and a limited housing supply. And Kim from Denver Real Estate agent, he's a Denver Real Estate agent, points out that the first-time buyers are especially impacted and many regret not buying earlier. That's what they're saying. That sounds like a realtor, though. You have to keep in mind. Number three, drop in rates may spur more housing supply. Okay, makes sense. And number four, affordability remains a major challenge. Even with the lower mortgage rates, affordability issue persists as home prices have surged by 50% since 2020, far outpacing income growth, which is what the federal guy was talking about. So what is different, Tom, about this rate drop that we have, half a basis point, versus what we've had in the previous 10 we looked at?
Well, the last three that we've had, so 2019, it was COVID. We had dramatic economic impact. Go down to 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
The housing market crashed, dramatic economic impact. We have not had a dramatic economic impact. Have we had an oil shortage? No. An oil embargo and oil goes to 140? No. Have we had the recession of 2001? Remember, that was talking 644 days. So that was almost 2 years. 2000 to 2002 was the recession that was in. There hasn't been a dramatic economic impact this time. Like COVID caused havoc, and 2008, the housing market caused havoc. And what's interesting is, Rob, do you have the Wall Street Journal big rate cut forces Fed? Just there's a little chart there. Not that one, the other one. The other one. Bingo. So they are saying that there's another half point coming this year, a quarter point in the first week of November, and another quarter point. I think they meet again on December 18th, I believe. So November 2nd, December 18th, the Fed meets again, takes a quarter, so it's a point down. When the Fed also signaled that, it actually made this worse. Because that tells, not only are you taking a half, you're telling us quarter. So you're going bang, bang, bang. And so the market is reacting, so the Fed is believing the recession story. So everybody's looking for the economic impact. Where is it? Are we going to admit that we're having a recession right now? Go take a look, Rob, on the housing market, the other chart, and go down to the first, right there. Check this out. So when they say refis are up 35%, you have to remember the number of houses available to refi. Look how low it is compared to the 20 million houses available to refi in 2021. Why? Because there's been no transactions. Mm-hmm. So when they say, they won't say numbers. The real estate industry won't say numbers, Pat. They're only saying refis are up 35%. By the way, but 35% over last year is still up over nothing.
Check this out, Tom. Go to April of 2022. The low mark, right? April to right there. Tom, from April of 2022, go till a month ago, Rob. Go till a month ago. Okay, keep going till right there. Okay, from April of 2022 to August of 2024, that's 28 months. How many realtors and loan officers didn't make it during that 28-month period?
So many.
Give me a number. What percentage you think are out?
You know what? The NAR, National Association of Realtors, would have that, but I haven't looked that up. But I would imagine you have to have dramatic shift in the part-time, because realtors are 1099s and they get a license and then they just disappear. You know what I mean? There's not a layoff. So that's the interesting thing, that whenever you're looking to see layoffs, if Wells Fargo lays off mortgage administrators, like a mortgage officer, loan officer, you can see the layoffs, Pat. You can't really see what happens with,
this article says,
because they're 1099s and they just kind of go to a side hustle or disappear, because you don't lay off realtors. They just stop producing.
And did you guys, so you know that there was
47% of realtors didn't do a single deal last year.
Well, there you go. So that's like
47% didn't sell one house last year.
So Vinny, that would be like
half
a 47%
of realtors didn't
layoff.
sell one house last year.
And go to the other chart that right before that one.
I believe that, because it comes down to the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 20% are doing 80% of the business and 80%
but you're
are doing 20%.
One. Now, go back to that, Rob. 47% of the rates show that. 47%.
Wow.
Half real estate agents around this report survey, 2,000 random agents, companies, California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Orlando. Wow. Go a little lower to see what are the numbers it says about houses. 70% of agents sold 5 or more. So, I want to know what percentage of realtors and loan officers left the industry.
The median number of sales was 2. How do you live on 2 sales a year?
Insane.
You don't. You do it part-time, or you're pretending to be a realtor when you're not really one.
That's right.
I've seen all this in Miami. It's
doing OnlyFans.
You got the fakers and you got the doers.
Okay, no.
Yeah, you've seen that whole OnlyFans
now take a look here,
of
Pat.
a realtor.
The rates are now down to 6.
Mm-hmm.
But take a look the last time it was 6 in 22.
Yeah.
To get activity, we really got to get back down into the 5s. Because we've been above 6.
We're getting there, no?
Well, yeah. Rob, do you have the today's mortgage? So the guy from Wells Fargo is right, but he's not right. Go to the Google National. Because take a look at what's happened already. He was saying 6.2, Pat. Take a look at this.
Nothing.
Right. But the 20-year is 5.9 and a 30-year fixed VA and the 30-year fixed 6.2. And this is 760. So we're not doing anything crazy here. You know what I mean? This is just regular citizens with a similar to the loan that Rob got when he bought his house a little over a year ago, right?
About 2 years, but yes.
So Rob's right back to where you were 2 years ago, right?
Thanks for bringing Rob's personal financial situation into the mix, Rob.
I got a 6.5% interest rate. That's what I got, but I also bought July of 2023 when in Florida the housing market was at the peak, and interest rates were at almost their highest.
Hey, Rob, congratulations on buying at the peak of the market. I'm
So you're
really
still
happy about that, buddy.
next year 5.5 probably justifies it, to do it. Yeah.
This report suggests, I'm looking at this report saying that since the new commission structure is changing with real estate agents and loan officers, it suggests that the agent count in the U.S. could theoretically decline approximately 300,000 to 600,000 people. Okay, which is roughly 60 to 80% of current NAR membership of 1.6 million could leave the industry.
There you go.
Okay, during this tour, all these guys, and the way, and by the way, this is one of the ways I saw it with real estate and loans when 2 years ago, and this is a very weird way of looking at it. Our CEO tickets at the Vol Conference, you know who comes to that event? We spend a lot of money. At this last Vol Conference,
leaders, people building jobs.
we showed people how much money we invested into the Vol 2024. Do you remember the dollar amount?
Ridiculous.
What was the dollar amount?
Started with
8.4
an eight.
million. 8.4 million we put into the Vol Conference, right? So we don't have a pitch fest. People that come in, they come in, right? And, the event packed, covered. Rob, do you have the picture of what the event looked like all the way in the back? Because, everybody always shows their events. And the next thing you know, I don't know if you have the video of the one all the way in the back. And there's a reason why I'm going with this that has to do with realtors. Very important for realtors to hear this. I don't know if you have it, Rob. I'll airdrop it to you.
Okay.
Okay. If you can just be careful. Put your phone aside when I airdrop it. I don't want it to blow up. Just set it aside a little. So anyways, 2 years ago, and I'm not even kidding with you. 2 years ago, Rob, Tom put his iPad away. 2 years ago, a quarter of the attendees were in real estate and loans.
Okay.
I'm not even kidding.
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Because the market was doing great.
Of the companies we were consulting for, loan officers, realtors, they're making 200, 300, 400 grand a month.
Escrow
They're
agents,
making
the
3,
whole
4,
industry.
5 million a year. They're making real. They got exotics, Rolls Royce, Ferrari, all this stuff, right? This year, I asked to stand up and raise your hands. Wasn't the case. The event we spoke to the other day, Clever, the real estate event that we went to, those are realtors. So this is the Vol Conference. This is at the Palm Beach Convention Center. We can't do it again next year, this place, because we just don't have the place for it. Go ahead, Rob. We grew 116%.
Are you kidding me?
Look at this.
That was me right there. I was in the back.
Look at this.
But look how
People
the
showed
back
up.
of the room is packed
But
to the end of the wall.
But the part with real estate and loans, 80% may be filtered out. The people that stick around and are great at relationship building and saving money, you will not be affected.
Yes.
Okay, that's the part. If you can stick around, the market's not going to stop selling, $1 million homes, $5 million homes, $10 million homes, $20 million homes, $500,000. It's not going away. But a chunk of them, that 28% of people, the 28 months of not making money and selling homes and refis, that filtered out a lot of people. Adam.
I've seen it because you know who got their real estate license in 2006? This guy right here. Why did I get my real estate license in 2006? Because I didn't know what the hell I was doing with my life at that point. I was doing the
06?
nightlife. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
fourth
doing
quarter
the
05, California was like the largest number of people applied.
Did you really get in 06?
Yeah, I got
you
it.
You got it at the peak of the market.
Yeah.
Horrible decision,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, talking shit about Rob. Look at you.
Yeah, but there's a difference between buying a house for $500,000 and getting a real estate license for $500. Big
Whatever,
difference.
dude.
No, dude. But the reason I was doing that is because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And this is a story about basically what a lot of people do is they're like, I don't know what to do. The bar is so low to get your real estate license. You take a class, you go to Gold Coast or whatever it is, you study, you maybe pass it, you maybe fail it, boom, you're in your second try, you're getting a realtor license.
Tree stumps
Hey,
have
go
real
out
estate
there and try to
licenses.
carve your path into the world. You start doing rentals, you start basically getting where you fit in. But here's something about realtors that a lot of people need to know. I don't know if there's a profession out there where you need to look the part and fake it till you make it more than being a realtor. You have to drive a nice car. You're driving clients around. How are you as a new realtor going to compete with the big dog out there that's listing $20 million properties while you're trying to do a rental for a $2,500 property? You got to drive a nice car. You got to have a nice watch. It's literally smoke and mirrors in this business. But the people that deal with the ups, the downs, the left and rights, the people that I've been seeing realtors since 05, 06 in that world for the last 20 years, the same people, the guys and the girls that stick it out, that basically save their money, reinvest in the business, and are not just using all their proceeds to look cool rather than actually be wealthy. they stick it out.
Guy sends me a Manek today. Okay, I'll read the Manek to you and I'll respond. I rarely send 5-minute answers, but I send this guy a 5-minute answer. I won't say the guy's name. He says, my buddy has a dealership in whatever state, and he used to sell 125 cars a month. Wow. The car market is entering a rough time right now, okay? And he's had some issues with the company, et cetera, et cetera. Ask him this question. And I said, there was a time in 2021 where everybody was paying 10, 20, 30% above MSRP when you were buying a car. Like maybe not 30%. But exotics were selling like you wouldn't believe. You're buying a $200,000 car. If it's brand new, you would pay $100,000 more to buy the car. So $300,000 for a $200,000 car. If you were buying even used cars, we're saying $20,000 more than what the car was worth because of the chips. So all these guys that went, and what I said to him, I says, what feedback do you have for my friend? I said, was your friend saving money?
Yeah.
This week, what happened? Yesterday, where we're at, right? Why was that able to happen? Because of saving money. If you don't have money, you can't buy that because it's a cash deal.
Yep.
Everything right now, to all the people that made fun of people that are saving money, if you don't like, I said to this guy, I said, the first Tom remembers what I was making. You know what I was paying myself at? The first 2-3 years of starting an insurance company, I didn't pay myself anything. Jen and I lived in an apartment at the Summit in Woodland Hills. Literally. Regular apartment at the Summit in Woodland Hills, right?
Truth.
Yeah. And then by the third year, I'm paying myself $80,000, $100,000 a year. That's nothing. My expenses, I'm barely making it, right? And then we start going and going and going. I start paying myself a little bit. I've never been the highest paid guy in the company, but we always had cash. So we need to invest into bamboo. We had cash. We need to go raise money. We didn't give that much equity because we had cash. Every time we had cash to reinvest, the mistake in every business, but it's so common in the real estate side, is they don't value cash. It's all go, 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 and not realizing every 5 to 10 years, shit happens to the real estate industry for 2 years. So if you do it right, you can really end up building something like Keller Williams did, but it's only if you're thinking long term. By the way, for some of you guys that are in the business, real estate, all this other stuff, there's some really good guys on Manek, like really, really good guys that are real estate specialists that have done very well. Insurance, or you can go back to that Manek right there, Rob. You guys that are private equity business guys, you can obviously Manek to any one of us. I'll respond back and answer questions for you. I only answer in audio, so does everybody else here. Adam does some text and audio, and Adam does a lot of calls. If you want to talk to Adam and Tom, they do a lot of calls. But this is a time to get the right advice from the right people. If right now you just kind of stay by yourself, this is a very scary time to just be by yourself, not investing into yourself.
Can I give you just a little bit of credit?
Yeah.
You have no idea how much respect I have for you, sort of the methodology that you do, because you have every right to be the baller out there. You've obviously made your hundreds of millions. We all know this, but we all know that 150 million ain't what it used to be.
Here we go, Michael Chandler.
Here we go.
We know that, but you've said things to all of us, such as, treat the company's money like it's your own. Oh, okay, cool. Like just because this guy's got hundreds of millions, I
shut the lights off in the bathroom.
You better, buddy, or else you'll be sweeping the bathroom floors from now on.
There's a reason for that.
But there's also things like, cash is king. Save that money. You never know what's around the corner. When the tide goes out, we're going to see who's actually being smart with their money. So it starts from the top, and whether it's an organization, whether it's the head of the household, if you sort of set the tone, this is how we handle money here, guys. We're not going to just be lavishly spending when we can be saving, because when the time is right, we're going to have this opportunity to buy something very unique for the company that Pat will announce soon. But at the end of the day, you have the pretenders and you have the professionals in everything. You have the people that want to look rich, and you actually have the people that are actually want to be wealthy or are wealthy. And there's a significant difference. The bottom line is this for me: you have sprinters and you have marathon runners. The people who are playing the long game and are the marathon runners like Pat, they know you said time and proof. Test of time, 5, 10, 20, 50 years, you're going to figure out who actually was good with their money or good with their morals and their values. The sprinters, they're going to look good for a year, for 2, for 3. But at the end of the day, when the market shuts down or they basically run out of money or the economy tanks, boom, the marathon runners are actually going to show who actually saved that money.
Tom, going back to the story really fast, I know you want to move on, Pat. With Jerome Powell, Tom, what is it? This rate cut had something to do with unemployment?
So the Fed uses rate cuts. If inflation is high, what you do is you raise the value of the US dollar by raising interest rates.
Yeah.
When unemployment starts getting too high, you lower rates so that businesses can get loans for sensible purchases, building a new factory, building a building, adding equipment. You see what I mean?
Got you.
Sensible. And it's and they're supposed to delicately turn the dial.
Yeah.
Kind of like, have you ever been in a hotel where if you turn that shower just 1 inch, it's way too hot,
Yeah.
and you turn it another half inch, it's way too
Freezing.
cold?
Yeah.
That is, think of that's the way that a sensible Fed is controlling interest rates in our economy. Just think of it that way.
Got you.
Can I help Vinny real quick? Because
Yeah.
I think you're getting mental shrinkage when he turns the cold water down. Here, let me explain.
Did you have a follow-up?
Not
Let me just explain. Let me explain this to you so you fully understand. I'm going to say it in 2 sentences. The Fed, Jerome Powell, he's got one main job: control the economy. He has two basically things that he does to control the economy. Number one, he has to deal with employment and unemployment. He has to manage that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is managing inflation. What's going on with all this? So he's controlling
You said
inflation.
2 sentences.
That's
You're
it.
on 15
He's
now.
controlling
Yeah. Okay,
got
inflation
it. Go for it.
and
What's the
dealing with
follow-up?
employment.
Got you. So the point I was going to make back is he just came out yesterday, I think, right, Robbie? And he blamed the migrant crisis for this growing unemployment. He said, if you're having millions of people come into the labor
Yes.
force, then you're creating 100,000 jobs. You're going to see unemployment go up. And he was saying, so it really
Yes.
depends on what the trend underlying the volatility of people coming into the country. So this whole, every time I hear Kamala and then brag about, Pat, how amazing the economy is doing,
Great
they're full
point,
of
Vinny.
crap because it's been steadily going up since spring of last year. And after starting the year at 3.7, it stood at 4.2 in August. The U.S. has slowed down in adding jobs in recent months with a disappointing 142,000 in August that fell short by 20,000 jobs. So every time I hear Kamala
point.
Harris saying, Pat, she keeps coming up and she keeps going.
You just made the best
Yes.
point. Moving forward,
did a great point.
You're the guy. All right, let's go to the next
You're the
story
guy.
here. New
Ding.
York Times workers threaten to strike on election day. So think about this. New York Times, they forgot what they do for a living.
Yeah, weird.
They're threatening to strike on election day unless their demands, including a 4-day work week. You're in media, unlimited sick leave. Unlimited sick leave.
Yes.
Like, can you imagine, like, unlimited
Unlimited.
sick leave? Leave already. Fire these guys.
Don't they have some nonsense about their pet? Yeah, there it is.
Pet bereavement leave are met.
God forbid an
This is
immigrant
right.
eats your cat.
The strike is
So Christy Noem could have taken a day off.
The strike is strategically timed for maximum disruption, with 95% of the union approving the vote. Can you
Wait,
imagine?
Pat, 90% of the what?
95% of the union.
What's that word?
Approving the word.
Union.
The Times Tech Guild, representing 600 staff, also seeks job security amid AI development and protection against gender and racial pay disparity. Though the New York Times stated it found no evidence of discrimination in a large-scale audit, management claims many of the demands could violate employment laws and are atypical for bargaining agreements. New York Times says the union's proposals, such as banning machine learning and limiting editorial content based on advertisers, could cost over $100 million and may give tech workers undue influence over editorial decisions, a major concern for the company. What the hell are these guys thinking, Tom?
Yeah, it's called denial, and denial is the most powerful drug in the world. The workers are in a state of denial. The New York Times has done better. I think it's the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and keep me honest on this, Pat. I think they've done the best with digital subscriptions. I think is the
the number of subscribers, they were number one.
Right.
If it's not
so
that
these people should thank their personal God that they have a job, because the New York Times has not decimated itself like the LA Times. The LA Times has been decimated, and I think it's been bought and sold twice in the last 6 years, 8 years. I believe that's correct. And there was a billionaire from Chicago, Sam something, that bought it, and it just crashed. Meanwhile, the New York Times has successfully had digital subscription. So these people still have jobs because somebody made the right strategic decision. Now they're throwing the kitchen sink at it because the economy's pretty good. The Times has got money thanking to digital. So now the union's coming back and asking for the moon. This is a union that is just not thinking straight, attacking don't bite the hand that fed you, and then pointing out that, oh, we don't want AI or machine learning and these other things because now they're scared of that to take their jobs. You only have a job because the New York Times is still New York Times. However, I've noticed, there is a prediction that was made that the strike will have no impact on the quality of the crap coverage they put out.
Oh, got it. So check this out. This is the number of subscribers New York Times has, Tom.
Wow.
9.4 million.
Yep. And the Wall Street Journal. There it is.
Number 2 at 3.5 million. Then it's Wapo Rob. Can you zoom in a little bit?
Rob?
Wapo, and then it's what is that one? Who's that? Gannett?
Gannett.
And then you have Substack, US Weekly, Dow Jones, which is excluding Wall Street Journal, 1.2 million. Financial Times, Weather, Guardian, News Corp, Australia.
And by the way, New York, LA Times not even on there. As you can see, in Chicago Tribune, where's the Chicago Tribune? These used to be pillars of American news.
LA Times sold for $500 million to Peter June, I believe. Go check to see who bought LA Times.
After Sam Zell paid $1 billion for it and dropped it on his foot and broke it.
Type in who bought LA Times. I think it's a Peter June. Yeah, Patrick Soon-Shiong.
And
yeah, bought it for $500 million.
After find out how much Sam Zell paid. Watch this, Sam. Watch this guy.
Sam Zell, rest in peace.
Pay for LA Times.
280 million in 1991.
1991.
So he bought it for $280 million. Now it's $500 million. I would entertain buying LA Times if we were in LA. No desire right now buying it because to be able to change it and help it out would be a lot of work. By the way, to go back to this, go ahead, Adam.
No, I just have one thing to say about, I guess, unions in general, because Tom was sort of highlighting what'd you say, union? What'd you say, union? Did you see what happened? Obviously, we know which way that the New York Times union will probably lean politically and basically what they stand for, especially with the pet bereavement. Rest in peace.
And unlimited sick days.
Yeah. But did you see what the Teamsters union came out and said the other day?
Yeah,
about
they're not going to support any president.
Yeah, which was very interesting because when you think unions, you think
not supporting any president. They're not supporting a president.
Correct.
Yeah, they're not. They're not.
I understand, but saying no is supporting a president.
Yeah, with the number. Yeah,
no
I
endorsement.
I agree.
First time, no endorsement this election cycle.
But look at the numbers.
But
look at the numbers.
58-31.
There's a couple different unions that have sort of made headlines in the last year or so. There's the UAW, which was that led the United Auto Workers Union. We all that was the guy Sean Fain. He spoke at the DNC. And he's the guy that basically said that billionaires shouldn't exist. And he's sort of a socialist communist, which is sort of what unions kind of have that vibe, right, Tom? But then you have this other guy, Sean O'Brien. He spoke at the RNC. It was the first time a president of a union member spoke at the RNC because they're usually sort of doing the DNC.
Was he the UAW guy?
No, he was the other guy. He's the Teamsters union. And he has this thick Massachusetts. He's like, I'm here representing the Teamsters union out of Massachusetts. I'm sort of doing a New York accent, but go with it here. And he goes, the union just wants the right thing for the people. And your park car out there, we're going to take care of that. And he came out and basically said, yeah, we're not supporting anybody this year. I can't really basically condone wink, wink what the Democrats are doing. And, fiscally speaking, we're not exactly the Republicans. But this guy right here, it is a bold statement for the Teamsters Union. I think it's the International Brotherhood of Teamsters to come out and say we're not supporting anybody this year. That's the writing on the walls for the Democratic Party out there after unions.
Did you see their internal polling? What led to this?
Robbie,
they don't
you have
like the woke
electronic
agenda.
member polls has Harris at 34% and Trump at 59.6%. The research phone poll, Trump is 58, Harris is 31. Keep going, Robbie. Yeah, look at that. 44. I'm sorry.
Go back to that stat.
Look at
right
that. This is Biden. This was what year was this? This was
recent.
April.
Okay.
This was April. They had Biden up by Trump, and then keep going, Robbie.
Guarantee you it
and now
flipped.
look at this.
Look at that right now.
Whoopsie, gone. 60-34%.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that they're not actually saying.
Tom, why the flip there? What's going on over here?
No, let's stay on this, guys. Stop. Stay on this. So New York Times, going back to this. Pet bereavement, unlimited sick leave, 4-day work week. They're asking for that. By the way, and they're saying discrimination, right? So New York Times is supposed to be the company that is writing about other people, discrimination, other people not taking care, they're going through it now.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the DEI flag carrier.
They're supposed to be the DEI flag carrier, and now they're realizing you can't do that in media. You cannot do that in media. When you're working in media, at any time story breaks, you can't say, I'm off. That doesn't exist in that space when you want to move up, especially when you're working for a company like New York Times. And by the way, this is also going to the story with what Amazon is saying. Amazon finally came up and said, listen, we're done with this bullshit. You got to come to the office.
Yeah.
The whole working from home flex BS that you guys are asking about, we're done. Amazon's return to office plan sparks concern and debate amongst employees. Their decision to mandate, they're mandating 5 days in the office starting January, causing a mixed reaction with one software engineer stating people are not happy about it and calling it unreasonable. Oh my God, unreasonable to be at the office 5 days a week, given data showing productivity outside the office. Others are already attending 4 days a week. Were less affected, but the change drew significant complaints about the added commute times on social media. The policy marks a stark contrast to the wider tech industry, where only 7% of companies require full-time attendance, compared to 33% of all the regular companies in U.S. Rob Sadow, CEO Flex Index, remarked, do you know something that we don't know? He said, is there something in their data or in the way that they operate that's finding that full-time in office is going to be better? Tom, your thoughts on this story here?
Well, first of all, Andy Jassy, if you take a look over the last 20 years, Amazon has been a model of efficiency. They're a retailer. They have tight margins. You look at the margin on books, the margin on third-party retail stores, and what they sell to you and me and Prime Delivery, it's tight. And they make bank on AWS. Well, they figured this out, and Andy Jassy was talking about, say, hey, listen, when you have people in the office, he says, I don't want to hear about productivity. An isolated person there, undistracted at home, is the productivity argument. It doesn't happen at layers up. People are having meetings in hallways. They have a pre-meeting. They talk about things. You encourage somebody. You mentor somebody. And what Andy Jassy says, number one, we're going to flatten the organization. If we flatten the organization with less layers, that means that mentorship's even more important. You don't have layer. And he's pointing out that, listen, we're going to remove these layers, flatten it, and we're going to increase the ratio of individual contributors to managers by 15% by Q1. So people are going to have larger teams. If you have a larger team, and you're in the office, you have a better opportunity to be mentored. And we have seen story after story after story over the past year about people in the office manage to get promoted and better raises. So the people that want to be individual contributors and just want to sit home and yet they still want the raises, companies are saying no. Even the companies that have people that have more work from home, the raises are lower. The opportunities for promoter. How do you promote somebody? How do you mentor your team? How do you look over their shoulder and come in and talk to them and give them a tip on something? And so Amazon has been a model of efficiency, and Jeff Bezos pushed very hard on things about how to run the organization. I think Amazon on this, Pat, is a leading indicator, and others are going to follow.
Of course it is, and it's going to scare the crap. By the way, check this out. Here's what he said. Jassy reveals plan to remove layers and flatten the organization by increasing the ratio of individuals contributing to managers by 15% by the end of it. He highlights issues like pre-meetings for the decision meetings, and stress that reducing meeting layers would help teams move fast without it. And then at the same time, he said, unless there are extenuating circumstances or an approved exception, Jassy emphasized before the pandemic, it was not a given that folks could work remotely 2 days a week. And that will also be true moving forward. They're done. If they do it, everybody has to follow their lead in their world. And that scares the crap out of a lot of engineers. Let me go to the next story. I don't want to stay on this here. I want to go to the next story. So Diddy is the next story. Obviously, you can't do anything right now without talking about Diddy. Diddy is today everywhere. Diddy denied bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking crimes. In charge. The judge ruled that there were no conditions that could ensure public safety due to the private nature of the alleged crimes, emphasizing the weight of the evidence against him. Diddy's legal team plans to appeal. His lawyer saying he is innocent. He's not afraid of the charges. We're going to stand by his side. Diddy offered a $50 million bond, surrendered passport, and proposed home detention, but the USDA deemed him a flight risk with a decades-long history of violence. The indictment alleged Diddy ran a criminal enterprise through his companies using firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and sexual abuse to control victims. Authorities seized freak-off supplies and weapons during raids, revealing disturbing details about Diddy's alleged abuse. They found, apparently they said, what did they find? The amount of stuff they found on the place, which was ridiculous.
100 bottles of baby oil.
50 Cent trolls Diddy and his 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil found in a federal raid. He took a shot at Diddy after his longtime rival was arrested on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. He says the In the Club rapper 49 posted a picture on Instagram from his appearance on the Drew Barrymore show and made a crack about $1,000 bottles of lubricant and baby oil that were seized by Homeland Security at Combs' home back in March. Here I am looking good company with the Drew Barrymore 50 Cent caption alongside a snap of himself on Drew Barrymore 49. So what do you think about all this stuff, Vinny?
Well, first of all, I mean, dude, it was only a matter of time. How much stuff do we have to see from the past? And I hate when Tom, what's it called? The statute of limitations, when the time...
It's like statute of limitations on certain crimes. Yeah. Once it expires, you cannot be prosecuted.
We saw, besides all the dirty, freaky stuff that we heard, which whatever, he's a freak. We've heard about the rumors from the hip-hop world. But the video of him grabbing that girl, dragging her, beating the hell out of her, and nothing happened to him.
The hotel video.
The hotel video. Wow. So the sex rooms in his mansion.
Cassie, who was his longtime girlfriend.
Yeah, which if this video, how just seeing this, seeing that right there, that is Sean Combs doing this to a woman, and because it was
not just a woman, Vinny, his girlfriend.
Okay, well, I mean, besides a relationship, that's a female. This doesn't put you in jail, so they protected him for as long as they could protect him for, right? But the sex rooms, PBD, that you were talking about in Miami, were filled. They had 6 sex toys, bondage gear, hidden cameras. Just like Epstein, lingerie. According to federal source, he said that as bad as Epstein, this federal source said. And one of the Department of Homeland Security agents who helped raid Diddy's Florida home claimed that the mogul had rooms that were clearly just dedicated, rooms, plural, for sex. And he said, so if you were in these sex parties, you were being recorded from every possible angle, including angles that you wouldn't even know about because they were hidden. And he said days long, they called them freak-offs, where he drugged up victims and they were allegedly forced to sleep with male prostitutes. I sent you this video. I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen these videos that are just surfacing from Diddy. This is Diddy of him at a party and what he does to his guests at his parties. Check this one out. Look what he does. Look at him, Adam. It's just during the sun. The sun is out.
Ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
Look. That guy is just
so unfortunate. You gotta pull back though, so they can see.
Like you're proud of that?
That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. Would you get a drink at his head? And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He's
putting people on blast.
DJs aren't supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them. I put him to sleep. Next day, right?
Yeah.
You put the drink on his head.
Just let you guys know, just FYI, they're not just coming for Diddy, Pat. Okay, this is, you guys heard it, Feds and Homeland Security. Okay, and the last time, the only thing I'm worried about, Tom, not worried, but I mean, it is what it is. He's in this prison. This jail. They're begging for him to come out. One of the reasons the judge won't let him come out is because he's dangerous. He'll have people go after these witnesses. And this is, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if, God forbid, something happens to this guy while he's in prison. Because we've seen people that have these cameras set up in houses and high-profile people that have been recorded. They're panicking right now.
Well, I was looking at interest rates and doing a lot of things the last couple of days. So, no, really, I wasn't diving into the story and reading everything I could on it. But I saw a couple clips yesterday on the Breakfast Club. And the Breakfast Club were talking about this is just the beginning, that there's 2 other big names and like 7 other people that are going to come, that are going to also end up in front of the judge on this.
Yep.
And it's just, it's crazy. And if this is the way it was operating, then this is finally #MeToo coming to the music industry after it walked through the other side of the media industry and Les Moonves and Harvey Weinstein and everybody, had their moment. Now Diddy's going to have his moment. And apparently it's the biggest and most salacious moment of all.
And they're saying his Christina Koram, his Combs chief of staff, she's probably going to be one of the main witnesses in the probe, and she was a huge member of his team. And they're dubbing her online as the Ghislaine Maxwell, the right hand, dubbed as his gatekeeper. So I don't see him. The fact that the judge won't give him the $50 million bail to come out, it's not good.
It's Al Capone's accountant all over again, right? It's somebody close to the big guy.
Yeah. Speaking of Al Capone, I actually have a question for PBD because, there's two things that they said in this thing right here. They said he's denied bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking.
Yep.
And then the other thing was racketeering charges. We've seen what's going on with the sex trafficking of that. He's in jail. He's literally in jail right now. He's denied bail. Diddy's famous lines, take that. I don't know what's going on in jail right now, but hopefully it's not
he probably loving, he's probably loving that, right, Deli?
We'll see what happens there. But the racketeering thing, you've interviewed Sammy the Bull and Michael Francis, and the list goes on and on and all. The whole RICO charges. The whole concept of racketeering is that you're in an illegitimate business, basically disguising as a real business, but it's actually fraudulent, bribery, extortion, fraud, money laundering, drug trafficking, embezzlement. What's the RICO? What's the racketeering in your opinion of what could potentially be going on with Diddy, just based on everyone you've interviewed?
Well, there's so many categories to it, right? I mean, you get to pick and choose. They get to pick and choose.
Sure.
The way they wrote this law allows them to go after people for different reasons. Okay, you pick and choose which one this is. He's in most of them.
Yeah,
he's in most of them. If you think about it, right, with the stories that's coming up. By the way, think about so Stephen A. Smith yesterday is doing a show with another guy that they have on, and the other guy says, this isn't just about Diddy. Diddy's life is on the line right now, and people, it's just at any point anything could happen to him. Forget about the fact that he's got a lot of risk on the line. Think about him, the comparison with him and Epstein, right? Here's a story. Meet Sean Diddy Combs' manipulator-in-chief, who was once compared to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Did you see this story? They called him the Black Epstein.
Let me read this to you.
Find that picture.
Christina Koram, chief of staff at Combs Enterprises and described as Diddy as his right hand, is alleged to be the manipulator-in-chief in federal investigation as close source claims she knows everything about Combs' alleged sex trafficking activities. Although she's not been arrested or charged, the federal indictment accuses Combs of using high-ranking supervisors to facilitate and cover up the abuse, with Karam allegedly organizing freak-offs involving sex workers and raids on Diddy's mansions, seized narcotics with over 1,000 bottles. In a separate lawsuit, Little Rod, Karam is compared to Ghislaine Maxwell, to Sean Combs, Jeffrey Epstein, and accused of ordering sex workers for Combs. Little Rod also alleges she made staff carry drugs for Combs. Okay. At this point, everyone knows Diddy's done. This isn't about Diddy. This is about anybody and everybody that went to that house or the other one, LA or Miami, that did anything after having 3, 4, 5 drinks, and you went to a room and you don't know what happened. You don't know what's recorded. Those guys who went to those parties, they're all calling each other.
Oh, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
They're all calling each other saying, oh, shit.
Dude, you were at that party, right? Yeah.
And you know what's going to, and not only, and by the way, all the people that are calling each other, then there is the last call. You know what the last call is? Who you're calling? Nobody. It's you and yourself. Ooh. You're calling yourself and you're saying, oh, man, it's just you and Diddy. And an imaginative conversation that you're having. Because you know Diddy's got the tape of what you did.
Oh, my goodness.
So imagine those politicians, the athletes. LeBron's partied there many times.
Oh,
the celebrities,
out with
the
Barack
pastors,
Obama and everybody.
Exactly. Imagine those guys who are sitting there saying, hey, we have to get those tapes at all cost, ASAP. Then when they say, we have to get the tapes at all cost, here's the question. Who is we?
Yeah.
Who is we when you say we have to get the tapes? Who's we?
And what is the cost?
We is who?
At all costs.
But hang on a second. Who is we?
All the people, all the higher ups that
but who is we? Like let's just say all these Usher, all these people that have been to the freak off party. Do you have a clip of Usher at the freak off party, Rob, and what he says?
Well, here he is talking about living with
this
Diddy.
when he was a teen. Don't worry about this one.
Yeah.
But so all these people that went there, right? So, you know, when they say those people have the clip, say it's because this is typically how it will happen. Let's say this is one of the faces of the NBA.
Okay.
You're one of the faces of Hollywood.
Okay.
He's an incredible political leader on the left or the right or whoever, right?
Okay.
That person's a famous lawyer. This person's a singer. That person's a pastor. Say they have those clips. Number one, let's just go through it. If they have those clips. Number two, then they say who talks on their behalf.
Yeah, the lawyers, their people.
If he's a celebrity, who talks on their behalf? Their agent, their lawyer.
Yeah.
So now who knows?
Agent, lawyer, publicist, all these people.
So now who owns you?
Oh my God, all of them.
Your agent, lawyer.
Yeah.
The agent, lawyer who say, we have to get these tapes. And they get on that call. Who are the we that gets the tapes? Who gets the tapes? It's not the agent and the lawyer. Who gets the tapes?
It's not the person.
Who gets the tapes? Who took this? Who went to this guy's house?
The feds.
The feds get the tapes. So now who knows? Agent, manager, publicist, lawyer, fed. Once those guys have it, for the rest of your life, your loyalty is to them.
Wow.
You're owned.
That's it.
You have two choices. Either the public, your kids, your family knowing, or you're doing whatever they tell you to do. There is no arguments. I don't know if I'm painting a picture clear enough for you to...
you painted it perfect because it's all like the levels of like you're cooked. You can't do and now here's the thing. They have it that even if the FBI has all these tapes, God knows, because remember when the first time it happened, Tom, he got on the private, well, he wasn't on the private jet. They filled that private jet and it flew somewhere else. Remember?
Yeah,
it landed somewhere, Turks and Caicos or wherever the hell it is. But going even deeper, Pat, like now that he's in there, there's a possibility that he might talk. So like you said, there's a possibility that something's going to happen to him while he's locked up. Remember what happened with Epstein? The cameras didn't work. Security was lax. He hanged himself, whatever. And then that girl, the girl that hasn't been arrested, you think she's feeling safe right now? His gatekeeper, Karam, what's her name? Christina Karam. She has to watch herself too, because I'm guaranteeing they're talking to her. They're going to say, you won't go to jail if you tell us everything.
Well, I want to know what the second and third arrest is, because racketeering requires it is an organization and a pattern. That's what's in RICO. That's why you get the mob. Multiple people selling drugs over and over again, importing illegal alcohol without tax stamps, which is big in South Florida even to this day.
That's what they call it,
the rum.
Organized crime.
Correct. So it's like, so the question is, who else is going to be arrested? Because if he's being charged with racketeering, who else is in the racket? There's at least one other person. So it's at least two, and it's a pattern.
Well,
and
just look at the Epstein example. It was him and Ghislaine Maxwell. It could have just been Diddy and this Christina Karam, chief of staff of Freak-a-Leak Enterprises out here.
And everybody else, let's say there was 5 in Epstein. Let's say there was 5. Those other 3 are informants now, and they're not charged, and we won't know their names.
Well, Pat, you remember what we learned about, what was it? His last name was Black, Leon Black?
Yeah, Leon Black.
Why did he pay hundreds of millions of dollars of fees?
Estate planning.
Right, when you should have paid $10 million maybe?
So by the way,
he had something on him, potentially.
This is why he walks around as if he owns everybody. Huh. You ever seen the movie with Sean Penn? Who is he playing? He's playing that criminal in L.A. where he's at the top of that one building. Who's he playing, Rob? You know what the movie is. Sean Penn, the freaking sick
Not Benny
movie.
Blanco from the Bronx.
Benny Blanco. No, Sean Penn. He was a lawyer in that Benny Blanco. Sean Penn plays the criminal. He was a crime boss. He moved from Chicago to... Guys, you know this movie. Not Mystic River. What is the movie that
Gangster Squad?
Gangster Squad, okay? So Gangster Squad, let me see, Gangster Squad. Do you remember how Gangster Squad ends?
No, I don't remember this.
Have you guys ever seen this movie? Vinny?
No,
I think you might have told me to watch it.
Don't show. No, we can't show this stuff. No, pause it. No, meaning like, Rob, we can't show it to the audience.
They didn't show.
So Gangster Squad is the story of Mickey Cohen.
Huh.
Mickey Cohen was a boss and a half.
Oh, really?
But Mickey Cohen owned all the judges, all the cops, everybody, until one flippin' annoying cop he could no longer buy. There was this one cop that is like, dude, I can't effing buy this cop. This effing cop is starting to piss me the F off, right? You know what happens when he eventually gets with this cop? He realized you can buy everybody except for this guy. That guy puts a team together to go take this guy down and eventually take him down. This movie depicts how I believe Diddy feels. He feels like the untouchable. I guarantee you if I have a one-on-one conversation with Diddy with no camera on and we're just there sitting there talking, no phones, no camera, no mics, nothing. And he was comfortable loose late at night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at his peak, he would brag about how much of an untouchable he is because everybody fears him. That's what this guy felt he was. That's a man that doesn't fear God. That's a man who wants to be God. And when you flirt with wanting to be God, let me tell you, there's only one thing around the corner for you. A massive fall.
Yep.
A massive fall. One time I put something on my affirmations, which was one of the most best affirmations I ever put. Stop trying to be God. That job is already taken. Stop trying to be God, because it was like, what if we do this? And what if we do that? And we can do this. And no, you can't. There's 90%. You don't have control of a lot of things that's going to happen with life. This guy wanted to play God, and he's not paying a price for it. You do not ever flirt with this.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing in life to flirt with, and you're getting destroyed for it. And a lot of people are going to pay a price. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are going to pay a price for this. Okay, let's go to the next story. Next story I want to go to is... which is the one that we haven't gone to. There was one other story that I really wanted to get to today.
Howard Stern?
Oh, no, not Howard Stern. Don Lemon. Can you pull up the Don Lemon clip, Rob, if you have it? Here's Don Lemon, and I want to give you 2 clips. I'm going to play Don Lemon, and I'm going to play...
Chris
Cuomo, okay? Both were at CNN. Obviously, Don Lemon was never at the levels of Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was a face of CNN, but Don Lemon was a guy that at one point he used to say some things that was actually pretty solid, right? But I'm talking 10 years ago, a long time ago, right? I don't know if you have the Don Lemon or not. Here's what he says. Don Lemon says Trump should lower the temperature, stop threatening democracy following assassination attempt. That's what he is saying, okay? So he urged Trump to stop threatening the second assassination attempt. If Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he has to stop being a threat to democracy. Trump, is this him, by the way? Or,
yes.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
Crooked Joe, Crooked Hillary, Crooked Kamala, Comrade Kamala, Deranged Jack Smith, Bird Brain Nikki Haley, Bloodbath if he's not elected. There won't be another election if he's not elected. Bringing drugs or bringing crime, they're rapists, poisoning the blood of our country, destroying the blood of our country, which was something that was Hitler-esque. Communist, Marxist, fascist, left-leaning that live like vermin. Sons of bitches to NBA players. Shithole countries. Haiti was one, and now he's blaming Haitian immigrants for things. Blood coming out of her wherever, as he talked about Megyn Kelly. And so if Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy. Perhaps he shouldn't be trying to overturn elections, overthrow the government, and inciting insurrections if he doesn't want people to be honest about what he is, who he is, and what he's doing.
So,
Crooked Joe,
this is Don
Crooked
Lemon,
Hillary.
back on CNN. You're seeing him on CNN all the time, okay? Now, here's his colleague, Chris Cuomo, who's at News Nation, okay? Who's at News Nation. Here's how he reacted to the assassination attempt. It's slightly different than Don Lemon. I'll let you be the judge of it. Go ahead, Rob.
And you can think what you want about Trump. He does not have many more full-throated critics of what he says and does than me. Okay? And yet I called him today because I am ashamed of how we are responding and not responding to the threats on him. And I feel for his family. And I know you can roll your eyes and say, oh, yeah, he asked for it. Listen. That's your choice, and I think it's a wrong choice.
Who's he talking to?
The people that are saying
we got to get out of the judgment business unless it's judging ourselves. And you got to start rewarding things that are better. And I got to tell you, I don't know how he stays in the race. I don't know how he got up after being shot in the head. And you people who try to mitigate that, you need to check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself. Say it.
That's right.
Yeah.
He gets up, pumping his fist, stays in the race, barely even talks about it. Now, look, I do believe he has wasted opportunities, and he has another one now. Who better than Trump to say, we can do better? I can do better. I know he keeps doubling down on his angry rhetoric. How can he not? It keeps working for him. I don't know that it gets him elected. My theory is that he needs to expand. He had a chance to do it after.
Has he said yet he called him or not yet?
Okay, the target of an assassination.
Okay, you can stop it right there.
At the RNC.
You got two different guys. You got Lemon, Cuomo, both no longer with CNN. One still has a good relationship with CNN, keeps going back on. Chris, Independent News Nation, they're doing great. Tom, how do you process these two different approaches?
So I see a very rational approach coming from Chris. And Chris has consistently, and still is now, a critic of Trump, his methods, and some of his policies. As a matter of fact, right after he does this, I think a day later, he was talking about he disagreed with this policy. And so I think Chris is out there. Lemon is just coming back, trying to find legitimacy, and he's doing it by just throwing red meat to the Democrat liberal crowd. And sits there with, I think it was Aaron Burnett. And Aaron Burnett didn't look convinced. And plus, Lemon's going down a list that's like 3 years long. How about if someone else goes down a list of what the Democrats have said to and about Trump in an inflammatory way? I think Lemon is really disingenuous about calling it as if this is a one-way street, an attack on democracy. And if we want to talk about attack on democracy, we have one of the first presidential candidates in history that never went through a primary process. After we actually held the primary process. So I think Lemon is looking for, he's looking for headlines. He's trying to reestablish his legitimacy, and he's just throwing blood to the dogs and getting people to react to it. When you could do the same thing about the Democrat candidates. And now you got Chris saying, hang on a second. You know what? We're not Venezuela. We're not Mexico, where how many candidates have been assassinated just this year in Mexico? In areas controlled by the cartels. And what Chris is saying is, hey, you know what? Don't you think about him as a human being? You may not like what he says, may not like what he's doing. And I just felt it was a very balanced, very rational approach to kind of where we are as a country. And Don Lemon, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It was just disingenuous.
Yeah, by the way, Don, of all people, and I get Chris has had his history, and and our audience, everybody knows about the COVID stuff and all that stuff. But Chris has turned a completely new leaf, and I respect the hell out of him for just being completely honest. Don Lemon, zero respect. By the way, you were fired, and you're showing up at your old job, just hanging out and still talking the same BS that you've been talking about since 2016, right? He was fired, right, Rob?
And he's showing up for free.
And he's showing up for zero money.
He used to get paid to go on CNN and give his commentary. Now it's worth nothing.
It's zero, and nobody cares. And all that stuff that he said, Pat, about Trump says mean, again, since 2016, he's saying mean things. How many assassination attempts on Biden? How many assassination attempts on Kamala, on Barack, on Bill Clinton? Zero. Nobody believes your bullshit. It's all that side coming after us, okay? And since 2016, and when you call somebody Hitler, since 2016, he is Hitler. And finger on the nuke, Hitler. What do people do when you call somebody Hitler? The guy that killed over 12 million people, 6 million Jews. What type of rhetoric is that? It's unbelievable. And I think something about Don Lemon, he has that Hillary factor. They keep showing up like a fly at a barbecue. You're like just get the hell away.
Like the fly on Mike Pence's head that wouldn't go away.
Exactly. So I just think it's ridiculous, Pat. And it's like these people don't realize we're thinking past Trump, life after Trump, because that same media, the same lying BS they're going to do to anybody that comes in that goes against their narrative.
What's the strategy? Accuse the
other of what you're doing. That's projection. I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm just tired of listening.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a theory. But Adam, let's see what you're going to say, and then I'll
you know what I really haven't noticed about the people that don't like Trump and attack Trump? They never rarely, if ever, attack his policies. Interesting, right?
Yeah, weird.
It's always attacking the personality. So, and that's actually easy to do with Trump. That's not hard to do. We get it. He's a sensationalist. He's sort of a shock jock. He's outrageous. The rhetoric is, that's Trump. We get it. But that's the easy thing to do, Don Lemon. The harder thing to do is actually examine his policies and say, yep, I don't actually like the drill, baby, drill. And here's why I'll tell you why. But you don't really hear that. Hey, actually, I don't like the fact that they should remain in Mexico. And here's the reason why we should have open borders. Yeah, I don't know about that. I actually don't like the fact that he wants NATO to pay. And maybe we should diagnose it. I never hear that. I always hear he's a threat to democracy. And all he does is say ridiculous things and he belittles people. We know this.
Yeah.
We know this about Trump. But guys, go deeper. And the reason that I like what Cuomo's doing is that at least he's being rational. He's like, look, dude, what are the chances, by the way, that Cuomo's voting for Trump? I'm putting that very close to zero. I don't know if it's zero. Very little, though. But at least he has the rationality to say, look, man, this is getting way over the top. Cooler heads need to prevail. There's now talk of that maybe there was a third assassination attempt that we didn't even hear about.
Chemicals at one of the
We don't even know what's going on there.
Burning.
So the whole threat to democracy, the whole look, I was not a fan of January 6th. Say what you want, whether you want to call it an insurrection or just
nobody was charged with insurrection.
Or a parade that got a little angry.
Wasn't
whatever it was. I wasn't a fan of that, but I very rarely hear people attack Trump's policies. And at this point, I mean, it's taken me 4 years to do this. I'm solving for policies at this point because we can go personality with Trump. We can go personality with Kamala and the cackling Kamala and I get it. But I'm solving for policies. And if you compare Trump's policies to Kamala's policies, it isn't even close.
So here's what's the way I see this with Chris. See, the difference between Don and Chris is Chris has a father he admires. Don doesn't have a father he admires. Don's father, he died when he was a child. And Don's father was married to another woman while he was with his mother. There is no relationship with his father. Don didn't grow up with a relationship with his father. If you look at most people from the certain communities, they don't have a relationship with their fathers. So he can't emotionally connect to your father potentially being killed twice. Chris can't. Chris had a father that was a beloved, admired, respected governor, crushed it. By the way, this isn't Don Lemon's fault. Don Lemon didn't do anything wrong. This has got nothing to do with Don Lemon. This guy grew up without a father. You know, when you read these reports, I'm finding this story here, Rob, I'll send it to you from The Sun. And it's telling this, because I'm sitting here saying, how does Don not realize the pain of losing your father? Like, what would that happen? And I realized, it's right there, go all the way down, by the way, type in Control F 2011. Type in Control F 2011, go to right there. Don revealed in 2011 that his father was married to another woman while in a relationship with his mother.
Oh.
Okay. When he died, on the other hand, Don's mother was also married to another man, but divorced him because he was treating her. So
he has some trauma in his life, obviously.
None of this started the right way. And in the story, it says that he was a child when he lost his father. Okay, so we don't know context, right? Yeah. Why a man behaves the way he does. If you go a little lower, Rob, the picture with Don's father in the red shirt right there. So what does he say right there? It says, Lemon was born, his father, right there. His father, Wilman, passed away when Don was a child and Catherine Wright and his last surviving parent, right? So on the other hand, go type in Mario Cuomo. Just type in Mario Cuomo, okay? And go to images. Just go to images, okay? That's Mario Cuomo. Look at the son. Look at the father and son. Look where Andrew has his hand.
Right there.
Go all the way to the left. No, go all the way to the left, right there. Look at that right there.
That's love.
That's just emotional, man. The father and son relationship. The son wants to be like his father. He became a 2-time governor because of his father. They love their dad. They love their mom. Forget their policies. They have the right. They have values as a family that protect each other, right? And Chris feels that if his dad was assassinated, what would Chris do?
Oh, my God.
The pain you go through from losing a father, right? That is the difference when you have certain context to understand what you expect. Like, yesterday I had Stephen Baldwin on the podcast. His podcast goes out tomorrow. Do you know this Stephen Baldwin, the youngest Baldwin brother, right? Been married to his wife for 34 years. His son-in-law is Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber is married to his daughter.
Haley.
Just so you know that, okay? Haley is his daughter, okay? Yeah. And he introduced Haley to Justin Bieber many, many years ago when they were kids, right? Younger. Yeah, of course, there's a video of it. But here's the thing. You know how the whole podcast started? All about the family. Do you know Alec Baldwin was the president of his high school in 9th grade? He won. Okay. He won 10th grade. He won 10th grade. He won 11th grade. He won 12th grade.
Wow.
Do you know his father said the campaign for senior year to win high school president, you know what it was? It was called sex all over the school. You know why it was called sex? It said students endorse Xander. because Alexander, they used to call him Xander.
Wow.
Alec Baldwin's real name is Alexander. The father called him Xander. Right there, look at that. Xander Baldwin. That's what his name was in high school.
Wow.
So the admiration these kids have for the father, they have 6 kids, 4 sons, all end up in Hollywood. Wow. Because this guy, do you know what he wanted to do? Do you know what Alec Baldwin wanted to do?
No.
He wanted to go into politics. You know what he majored in Georgetown? Political science. Because he wanted to go into politics.
Poli-sci.
That's right. And guess what happened? Why he stepped away, based on what Steven said. He said he ran for president of Georgetown as a freshman or whatever year it was, or senior. He failed. He says, I'm not meant for politics. Left, goes to acting school, the main acting school in New York. What is that called? Studying the main person. There's a name for it. That's what
Okay.
I don't know if that wasn't. Maybe it's a different one. It's a name everybody knows. You'll hear or see on the podcast. He goes there, comes back. Dad's like, what are you doing going into acting? Comes back and says, Dad, I'm making $5,000 a week. He says, you're making what? He was on the doctor, whatever show. I think there was a show
General
called
Hospital.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So he's making $5,000 a week. But what's the moral? You can sit there and not like Alec Baldwin. But that's the one. Lee Strasberg. That's the one he went to. Yeah. You can sit there and not like Alec Baldwin, and for whatever he does. But look, man, the father and the mother kept that family together. So Cuomo understands what it is to have a great father. Lemon does not. To Lemon, it's just another man who's going to get killed. Who cares? I got to move on. It's his fault. Yeah. It's not my fault. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do my thing. He's going to do his thing. I mean, but the reality of it is, this is a moment where somebody gets to sit there and see Cuomo as a person who cares and says, hey, man, let me just drop him a call. And maybe he's changing. Maybe he's going through whatever he's going through. And, you know, it's never a good thing to have influence from a podcast called PBD Podcast. You got to be careful when you go to PBD Podcast.
You got to be really, really careful.
These are all the Baldwin brothers.
All the Baldwin blood.
Look at these guys. By the way, I wish we got to hear that phone call. Like, who is this? And he's like, it's Chris. You better say you're sorry. And then let's continue this conversation.
Cuomo said he actually spoke to Trump?
He said he spoke with him.
He did.
He talked to him.
He said he called him. I don't know if he
called him. Well, if he's trust me, he's going to get through.
I knew you'd call me again.
But what a great...
But that's the angle I take with this, because they can say all the stuff that they want to say. By the way, I got advice for whoever gets a chance to interview Kamala Harris. I got some advice for you. Rob, can you pull up the 3 things Kamala Harris keeps saying in interviews? I don't know if you have... recently when she was speaking at this Hispanic, whatever it was, do you have that one where she kind of talks like she's Spanish with a little bit of an accent? Have you seen that one or no?
Let me look for it right now.
It should come up. Right, that one right there. That's the one where it's like she's dressed up in. And if you can just go to the beginning of this one, and then I'll find the other clip I want you to show.
If she laughs, I'm leaving, Pat.
I love you back. I love you back.
I love you back.
She's so
yeah, exactly. So you know what all her answers are? This is her answers, okay? So I would like to make a request to whoever that's going to be interviewing her to start the interview in the following way, okay? She won't be coming here anytime soon, but somebody else may get her, okay, from mainstream ABC. It's probably going to be ABC. Rob, if you can just show the highlight. There's 3 things she repeats, okay? There's 3 things she repeats over and over and over again in every single one of the
Every single interview.
Every interview. Go ahead and click on this, Rob.
Is this it?
Go ahead, Rob. Play this.
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. I grew up a middle-class kid. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams.
The ambition, the aspiration, the dream. I started my career as a prosecutor.
I was a career prosecutor for most of my career.
Having a background as a prosecutor, I intend to create an opportunity economy.
Right.
Developing and creating an opportunity economy.
What I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy.
Okay, so here's what I would do. By the way, whoever interviews Kamala, can you start the interview this way? Okay? Because she gaslights everybody, and you interviewers look like clowns. Okay? Here's how you should start the interview. Vice President Kamala Harris, thank you so much for making the time to be here. I have a few set of questions I'd like to ask you, but, you know, for the sake of not being repetitive, I already know you grew up in a middle-class family. I already know you believe in an opportunity economy. I already know you were a prosecutor. We know that. But we would like to focus on policies. What policies do you have to help with the economy? Not opportunity economy, specific policies, if you could. Once again, we know you grew up middle class. We know you believe in opportunity economy. We knew you're somebody that was a prostitute. We got that. We got the facts. We have the Wikipedia. Can you just tell us a couple policies? See how she reacts.
You know what she would say, Pat?
Space.
Well, listen,
Space
we all know
big.
that we don't want to be unburdened
by what has been,
or what will be.
No, but
she's going to have her talking points regardless, but there's no policy there.
But you have to realize with this plan that they're playing, somebody said fence sitter. Fence sitter?
Sitting on the fence. Basically, you can go either way.
Just don't go far enough to give Trump and others ammunition to attack you. So you just kind of like play it very safe. By the way, if this model helps for her to win, we are entering a very weird era of politics.
Because those are, you know, her interviews, she's not doing them, are her rallies. Those moments where she's like, yay, hello, everybody, talking to everybody like they're children. She will not sit down on a one-on-one from this moment. There's absolutely no way. She did Breakfast Club how many years ago? Where she's kind of having fun, Rob. They're all laughing. They're all giggling. I know it was years ago. Tom, do you think she's going to sit she would never, I don't care, for $5 million, she wouldn't sit with him. Yeah. What do you think?
I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention when you were talking right there. I was thinking about what Pat just said. We're entering a dangerous time because we elected Joe Biden, where Joe Biden effectively hid in the basement. We all know about COVID. We all know what they did. And if now we are in an orchestrated PR campaign and we're electing a president based on perceptions, God help us if we really have to figure out what we do between China and Taiwan. God help us if Hezbollah elevates it and we really have large-scale warfare in the Middle East and World War III kind of breaks out. God help us if we really have trade imbalances and issues that happen. You know what? We're going to need leadership at that point. And I hope we all remember as Americans, you know, there's an old saying, you know, sometimes the people deserve what they voted for. And I don't want to see us go through that. I don't want to see a country go through that. But I agree with what Pat was just saying. I think we're entering a dangerous time if we're not going to inspect our leaders and elect somebody that we think is going to be able to invoke change and be a leader on a world stage. And we're going to sit through a PR campaign on perceptions and we're going to elect that. You know what? That is such a dangerous time.
Tom, you make a scary point. China and Russia, and if I was our enemy right now, this would be the prime time to attack us. Okay, think about it. They're already trying to kill every other week, every month. They're trying to shoot the rival against the left. Joe Biden, when's the last time anybody even heard of Joe Biden? Where is he? What is he doing? Where's the president of the United States?
You don't have to attack us, Vinny. We're attacking ourselves. And you can be making your economic and political strategies separately and just figuring out how you're going to do it.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Pat brought up a really good point, is that we're not actually having policy debate at this point. And I don't think this is necessarily a 2024 thing or even a 2020 thing, a 2016. This is the direction that we've been heading. You know, what does Breitbart always say? That culture, politics is downstream from culture. At this point, the culture wars have taken over. You know, rather than talking about the fact that we're $35 trillion in debt, we're arguing whether the Haitians are eating the cats and the dogs or not. I don't know. We'll figure that out at some point. But everything is culture wars at this point, whether it's abortion, whether it's LGBT, whether it's the trans, whether it's guns, whatever it is, that's forefront, because policy debate and fiscal debate is no longer what gets the clicks. It's whether or not the man should be allowed in the female bathroom or a man should be able to fight a woman in a that's what basically this is. And the DEI candidate out here is not looking to engage in policy debate because she doesn't have policy debate. It's deeply emotional. It's deeply cultural downstream from that. And she's not going to have policy answers for you because she doesn't have a lot of policy.
Well, Pat, because we're not complaining, but you always tell us to have, solutions. If you're going to talk the crap, what's the solution? In a situation where 98% of all the media that we're getting is one side and it's making her look like she's the best, how do we, besides PBD
I'm
podcast?
so glad your mind is going to places
You feel
like
where I'm going?
I'll tell you exactly
we have PBD podcasts, we have X, we have these moments where we're trying to wake people up, stop listening to the BS and look at both sides, because we hold everybody's foot accountable. I criticize Trump on some of the stuff that he does, and I don't care about what he did with COVID and everything. How are we going to fight to beat these people? Because this basement tactic, Tom, it worked in 2020, and the fact that the numbers are this close, that margin of error.
Amen, Vinny.
One by one, you have to buy up franchises and media outlets on who controls them, because you have to see who has influence over what. So he bought up what? He bought up X,
Yes.
right? That how much dramatically has that flipped ever since he bought X?
Ridiculous.
Yes. Right? Okay. There's plenty of podcasts out there that they're doing what they're doing. But this work of what needs to be done, this is a 20-year plan.
Yeah.
This is like, when is the next time LA Times coming for sale? When's the next time New York Times coming for sale? When is it? The New York Times has been part of the same family since 1896, by the way. When's the next time some of these plans, when's the next time you're going to get a social media company being for sale? The moment those things are available, you either create or you acquire. You create or you acquire. That's really the only option. Money needs to be used to create or acquire. We're putting where our money is, like V2News.ai. Guys, and by the way, let me say this as well, the relationship with the customer, with the individual. If I believe in Elon Musk and what he's doing, I want to financially support him. I said on a podcast, here's $10 million. Do you remember? I called every Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch. I said, take $10 million. It's a way of saying, I trust you to grow your business. If I have to choose between paying the $20 million check, $40 million check in taxes, or whatever the number is to taxes, versus giving that to an Elon Musk, hey, here's $10 million into X. Go do whatever. This is a relationship that's a two-way highway. You guys got to support who you like. If it's not us, go support X. If it's not X, go support DW. If it's not them, go support somebody. But you got to support the people that have a message and values and principle that you like. And it's not perfection. Now, Elon's not going to build a perfect app. It's growing, right? We're not going to do everything perfect. Not everybody's going to do everything. There's going to be mistakes being made, but it's a relationship. Our part is to make sure we take the money that we make and we reinvest. Your part is to say, if I support your values and principles and what you guys are doing, let me buy your product. Let me support your products. You vote with your money to get those businesses to get bigger. Period. Netflix has 200 million plus subscribers. How much? You know how much money they're spending next year on movies and productions? What was the number, Rob? The amount of, was it 12.4 billion? It was some ridiculous number what Netflix is putting into movies next year. $2.4 billion into production?
In 2024, their budget was $17 billion.
$17 million? How you compete with that? Well, because they got 200 million people that are paying $10 a month, $20 a month.
17 billion?
Dude, 2023 was 12.6 billion. Next year, they want to buy $17 billion.
Wow.
Someone has to compete against that, but someone has to support that company. That relationship is both ways. So one, create or buy up. Create, support, buy up. Create, support, buy up. If you do those three, eventually a long term is going to be fine, but it's a 20-year plan. We're going to do our part. And we're going to find our audience.
Yep.
And again, remember, November 5th, put it in your calendar. And if you haven't yet gone to Google VTnews.ai, do so. Get off the computer right now. Get off the podcast. Just go to VTnews.ai and subscribe to the newsletter. And if you want to get the $4.99 plan, do so. And if you want to get the $19.99, do so. But start off with something. Support the businesses that you feel are doing the right things long term. Anyways, God bless everybody. Tomorrow, Stephen Baldwin, 9 a.m. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.